where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the groove surround us, everything's alright.
From the foundation heights, quest the truth is our guide. In the vast expanse, it's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the groove surround us, everything's alright. SNX Radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this road we will never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic arc.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright. SNX Radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots. Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX Radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX Radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand hand in hand. In this dance of truth, let the story expand.
Out in the dark, the stars align. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Signals flashing, the secret sign. Sasquatch whispers, UFOs glide. Mysteries unfold, can't hide, can't hide. Voices in the static calling me, calling me. A cosmic rhythm setting me free. SNX, feel the vibe, let it flow. Connections glowing, don't you know? SNX, light the night, let it show. Cosmic groove, we're ready to go. In the woods, shadows move, move. Skyline flickers, it's a neon groove. Expert stories witness sight, unravel truth in the cosmic light. Voices in the static calling me, calling me. A cosmic rhythm setting me free. SNX, feel the vibe, let it flow. Connections glowing, don't you know? SNX, light the night, let it show. Cosmic groove, we're ready to go. vibrations that echo through an endless sky. Bound by the stars, our story unfolds. In the universe, our destinies are told. We drift and we roam, finding our place in the vastness we call home. With courage and wonder we reach for the light, guided by visions that illuminate the night. Mystery cloaked in the vast unknown, truth and discovery seeds we sow. In this guarded wonder we seek the key to unlock the secrets of our galaxy.
All right, we're going to cut it just a little short. Obviously, I did not realize that I had popped up on the screen already until I saw it. So, yeah, no, welcome to SNX Radio. Back to another fascinating night. And tonight, alongside of me, I have James Kelly. And if you don't know James Kelly, you're about to, because he's definitely he's an experiencer. He's got a profound story. So, James, can you tell him just a little bit about yourself? Well, and we got two James tonight because we got James Gilliland. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But yeah, so we have a really exciting guest. But James, take it away. Why don't you tell them where they can find you and who you are real quick? And then, yeah.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is James Kelly. I've been an experiencer since I was the age of 6 years old. And I think we're getting a lot of feedback.
You're getting feedback?
Yeah, it's repeating everything I'm hearing.
Oh, do you maybe have something going on in the background? Because it shouldn't be. I don't hear it on my end. So I think that, I don't know. Can you go ahead and see if you're still getting some interference?
Oh, there we go. I don't know what it was.
Great. Yeah, sometimes it's StreamYard. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That's all right, everybody. Yeah, like I said, I've been an experiencer since I was 6 years old. When I was received by the Arcturians, giving me an opportunity to bring peace and love into everyone's life here on Earth. And that is my mission that I have been given. But on the darker side, I have been taken by the Greys since I was 8 years old until I was 52 years old. So my whole life has been up and down, back and forth, to be able to reconcile everything. And I kept most of this just to myself. I never told anybody about any of this. I just kept it inside and let it just be there. And I locked it away until last year. I decided to write a book about my experiences called Lone Believer that goes through all of my experiences that I was from the age of 6 years old on. And it is now out for everybody to read and to understand a little bit more about what is going on. And it clears up about a lot of misconceptions about claims of UFOs and abductions. And you can find that on Amazon. If you type in James Kelly's books or Lone Believer, you'll be able to find that on Amazon. And I'm coming out with my second book next month, which talks about how I dealt with all this without falling into a dark pit and being able to come out the other side and help people. And I get phone calls all the time from people said, I read your book, James, and I was about ready to commit suicide because no one believes me. My marriage has failed. And I read your book and I realized I'm not the only one that's been going through this. So it's been a great journey. So if you're really interested in learning more about how I went through this and came out on the other side, check it out. It's on Amazon again. It's Lone Believers, or you can just type in James Kelly's books. So
yeah, and I will add it to the link too. So if you're listening to this on our streaming networks, do know that I will be adding the link to the description. So that's awesome. Yeah, thank you, James, because you've got, and we'll definitely we will definitely go into your story definitely deeper, because you got a lot there. So I appreciate that. And tonight we have another experiencer, which I love experiencer shows. I really do. Everybody knows that. Like, obviously, like, my heart's very much into this and very close. So, and too. So James Gilliland, if you didn't see the UFO, or well, I guess I'm so used to saying UFO, but ET and Eceti and what he's got going on, you have to check into it. He released video of contact where you can see that there are crafts, you can see that there's contact being made. So that is all. If you look on to, it's going to be a little bit hard if you're listening to the audio side, but on the audio side, you should be able to go and check out the video. It will be on the internet, so you can look. I try to release as many videos as I can to all the streaming devices, but obviously not everybody is supportive of that. So let's get into James. James Gilliland is a best-selling author, minister, and founder of Enlightened Contact with Extraterrestrial Intelligence, which is Eceti's great ranch in Trout Lake. So Washington, established in 1986. So he's been doing this for quite some time, and his contact is absolutely phenomenal. So if you didn't see the video and you curious about what we're talking about, want to see the evidence for yourself, go ahead and look at it. We have it on YouTube, Facebook, all over the streaming devices, but obviously the ones that are audio, it's going to be a little bit harder. You'll have to look for it. So with 20 years, he's had 20 years of direct contact experiences. He shares messages of spiritual awakening, environmental urgency from benevolent ETs. His book, Reunion with Source, Becoming God, and the Ultimate Soul Journey delve into the higher dimensional realities, blending Eastern disciplines like meditation with extraterrestrial insights. So he's got a lot. And being a conscious experiencer of all this, and the amount of contact that he has is absolutely phenomenal. So we look forward to hearing more about that. So he really, right now, we were talking before, and he's got a lot of projects that are going on, a lot of people that are going and visiting the ranch, and they can see this for themselves. And James, we asked him for the evidence, and he put everything on the line, and he delivered full. I can't even tell you how amazing it has been to be able to sit and go through all this. So without further ado, international speaker, James, he's experiencer, contactee, whatever you want to say, he's established contact, and he knows a lot about what he's talking about. So let's bring him on, and we're going to welcome James Gilliland to the stage. Did I say that right, James? Did I slaughter it? Okay. Oh, he's muted. Oh, okay, so we can't hear. Sorry, you were just muted a second there, James.
Okay.
Go ahead. Did I pronounce that correctly, or is it?
Yeah,
did I need a?
Yeah, Gilliland. I have trouble saying it myself, so it's I have two other books out too. I have Anunnaki Return and UFOs: The Origin of Man and Religion. So those are out now, and they cover everything that's going on right now to help people understand what we're in the middle of.
Yeah, because like I said, not everybody can produce the amount of evidence that you have produced on this, and it's absolutely phenomenal, and you've put it out there. So if you guys are curious about what we're talking about and you did not see it for yourselves, it is on here. It has been premiered, and he delivered. He delivered on it. So
it's
awesome.
a first. It's kind of crazy because people don't realize that most of ufology is a controlled narrative, and if you're authentic and you really have the goods and everything, you're pretty much pushed aside, and because they want to keep, they don't want to talk about the spiritually and technologically advanced ones, or the fact that they are our ancient ancestors and that they're returning, because everything they represent is against the old guard that's been running the show right now, and so it's collapsing, right? And it's really what they told me recently. They just said change is going to be happening on every level. Like I said, are you talking about physical changes? They said yes, and I said social economic changes, and they said yes, and they were talking about we're in a huge transition point, and the old world's going away. It's imploding. It's collapsing in on itself. It's not frequency specific to the Earth, which is ascending, and the forces behind this nobody can stop. It's just massive, but it doesn't mean they're not going to go out kicking and screaming, and try to create chaos on the way out. But they're saying it's very close. I mean, we're going to have some big changes coming up here really soon.
So what do you think about all the technology that's been incorporated in AI and all this craziness? Do you think that do you see anything preventing, I don't know, like with the technology that you've come in contact with? It just, to me, seems like, man, no, how are we going to, believe anything from this point forward, if that's the case?
Yeah, I know. I saw AI stuff, and I was going, holy crap, like they can make anybody, put the face on anybody and mimic the voice and everything. And it's like, and then they stick it into a folder and let somebody else find it and reveal it. There's so much going on. It's so crazy. You almost can't believe, anything anymore, but you have to go to the heart and develop your own inner sensitivity and feel whether this is true for you. And is it worth playing with? Is it going to tear your vibration down or things like that? But I just learned to practice loving detachment, and it's a big kabuki theater right now. And if you try to figure out what's going on, there's so many twists and turns and 2 steps forward, 1 back. It'll stress you out and drive you crazy, So to me, it's a show. I just watch the show and I already know the ending, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you think the general, and like in the grand scheme of this, if they come and they're gonna, they usually, when the government moves, they move quick and they move fast and they try and sweep everybody in. Like, I remember some people being on there like, yeah, no, if you go out and there's a bazillion, what you think is an invasion going on, how are you going to react? And I said, I'm going to run back in the house and I'm going to call everybody and tell them not to buy into this. This is not how it works,
Well, the invasion already happened, and that was incarnation, like all these really advanced souls incarnated, and that's the real invasion. And the second invasion is actually, it's happening right now. Our skies are full of ships. There are so many ships, we don't even know. I go, which one do I film? Because you'll have 5 in one frame coming over, and sometimes we'll have hundreds of ships coming over the house, and then we have the big motherships come in, and they power up and make a huge turn, and they're pretty massive as well. And so you can see in the footage I sent you, that was just the July 4th weekend. All that happened, that stuff I sent.
That was all one weekend?
All one weekend.
Oh my gosh.
Peter Slider was here from Australia, and he said Australia, but that was one weekend. And that's what cracks me up. I go, we've been doing this for 40 years. Where in the hell is the UFO community? Why am I cut out of all the conferences and censored? And I know why. I know exactly.
Oh, yeah. Because as I said, anybody that's layered on the top, you're going to ask yourself if they're really a player in this at all. Yes.
And unfortunately, a lot of them have pretty much sold their souls, and they're part of the controlled narrative, and their backing is pretty intense. But you really gotta look behind the scenes, look at what's going on. In their regular lives. Forget about what you see on stage and on when they, but just see how they behave and check out where their financing is coming from and things like that. And then you'll figure it out.
Yeah, to ask them questions. Hey, put them on this, you got them in the hot seat. Like, let's hear it. Do you got evidence? Like, what do you, what's contact like? Because we were talking about somebody, I don't know name names myself, but, it's like the people, they're not even experiencers themselves when you get down to the core of this. So how are you going to, it's so maddening, but just say you have been. So if you're watching this and I'm going to contact and I'm going to ask why James Gilliland is not on these panels, because I have not seen anybody yet produce this much evidence and over the years, and you can trust it because it's like going back. It's not like you're watching this AI creep on past. No, you can hear people. You can hear people yelling and screaming. It's great. It's absolutely great.
Yeah,
you've ever experienced the craft. Yeah, we've had tens of thousands of people. I don't even know how many people have come up here over the past 40 years, and we have triple PhD
PhD Boeing engineers, Lockheed Skunk Works, Air Force base commanders, and air traffic controllers, all testifying. And they all went on the Art Bell show on Coast to Coast once, and they testified, So this has been going on for a long time. We have the photos, the videos, pictures of the beings actually appearing, everything from ascended masters to very spiritually and technologically advanced off-worlders are coming in. And it's just like, we have all the evidence, the witnesses, and we have these spontaneous healings happen here all the time. And it's really amazing how much this is censored. It blows me away. You think everybody be beating down the door, which I'm almost glad they aren't, because I kind of like my privacy. But in a way, it's like you would think if they were sincere about disclosure, which is a 70-year fail, basically. All we have is a fuzzy Tic Tac in 70 years. I mean, yeah, we have photos of. We know the beings on the ships by name. We've made friends with them. It's crazy.
That's amazing. That is amazing. So when you have, how often or how do they contact you? Like how is it that you stay conscious through that? Because I know a lot of experiencers that are listening to this, like, it's so hard to hold on to that consciousness, like, when you're there. Like, do you have any ways that you do it, or since you do it so often, like, what are your techniques, I guess?
Like with me, I had 2 near-death experiences, which just blew the doors wide open. And then after that, I studied intensely with lamas and yogis and elders of all nations, and learned their beliefs and their techniques and things. And so after all that, constant meditation and ceremony and things like that, now it's whoever's there, I know who's there. I know who's coming in. And my body picks it up too. My body's like a radar, and I can tell Pleiadians are here, which group is here. There's one group that James probably knows more about, the Arcturians. I haven't had a lot of contact with the Arcturians. I have experienced them and things like that, but what's interesting is because I'm working so closely with the Pleiadians and the Orion Council of Light and the Andromedans and those groups, they're kind of watching. They're not interfering. They have kind of agreements on the other side, but I'm curious who they are and what they look like. But I felt them. I've had glimpses of them.
That's fascinating, James. How do you identify them? I guess, can you tell us a little bit about? I'm interested too. Yeah, that's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, it's I just get when I'm outside, I just get the strong urge to be out there. Like, I got to go outside. Got to go outside. Got to go outside. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, okay, so I go outside, and within minutes, I'll see something streaking across, or a huge light above me. And then I'll start hearing things in my mind, and I can feel things. It's a different experience. It's more of a love, benevolent experience for me, where it's almost like they're touching my soul to the point of this just pure light. That's the only thing I can explain. Is they're communicating with pure light and understanding. The person who contacts me, her name is Lauren. She says that she's my star seed mother. And I also have a sister named Sari, who is a star seed. She's the Arcturian. Mm-hmm. But the Arcturians have told me that they are not going to interfere. I guess they have been told to stay away. So they have just stood in the background, I guess, more just like the Pleiadians, and kind of watch and nudge, see what's going on, and allow us that have been sent here, that's our mission, to help and to let people know.
Yeah, I think we all have our niche, I kept asking, well, how come the Arcturians haven't? Because we have a big medicine wheel out here that's put together by a Hopi elder, and we have pods for each group, and we have the Arcturian pod. And then I asked them, I said, well, how come you haven't appeared to me, and things like that. And they said, well, there's a bigger plan going on, and you're working with these other groups, and we don't want to interfere, so I leave that up to other Arcturian contactees to deliver their message, whatever. It's all the same message, basically.
they're all working together to have the same outcome, to
Exactly.
try to get everybody to understand. And some people get it, and unfortunately some people don't. And I just find it fascinating that people that are supposed to be experiencers, I just won't drop names, but they're stealing my stories.
Yeah.
They're even notorious for that.
And I'm like, oh, really? And it's just not, they just didn't steal my story and mix it up so it makes it theirs. It was almost identical to everything that happened to me when I was 6
welcome
years
to the
old.
club. I same thing. It's I was watching people read my newsletter verbatim and then say it was a channeled message from their guides. and I was going, oh my God, and people would send it to me and go, this is your newsletter. And they didn't even change anything.
Yeah.
They're not that creative. Yeah, no, they're not that creative.
Yeah, and I've seen that so many times. I've seen people write books, and there's some people way up in the field that wrote books about their story and childhood, and it's like mine. It was completely stolen, and I just go, you gotta be kidding me. It's like, at least change some chapters or something, or add some new ones. It's
No, that would be too much. I mean, these people are notorious for it. I had the same thing, and this lady, I really wanted to ream her neck over it, and I was like, I can't believe this, like, and I know what it was before, and it's just like, God, be original.
They're like the Bidens of ufology, where they plagiarize everything, and just give themselves credit.
Yeah, because during the night, I call it downloaded, where I'll be woken up and I can hear it. I can hear Lauren talking to me in my mind. And after it's done, I'll go to my desk and I'll start transcribing it the best that I can remember. And these are the things that are being taken as well. And it's just like, come on, people. It's funny because my star name is Milio, which very few people know that. And they were using that same name in context with what was going on. So it's kind of I don't understand why they would just deliberately do that.
Yeah.
They don't have a story of their own. They don't have a story of their own.
I have a theory on that. And some people mean well, but they didn't get the attention as a child from their parents or from whatever. And so they're really trying to get love, acceptance, and approval outside of themselves. And this is a way they can get that attention. And so their come from is off. And if your come from is off, other things come in. And so if you don't have impeccable integrity and absence of ego or whatever, other things come in. And then next thing you know, those other things own them. And I've seen a lot of that where people give their power away to these external sources, and next thing you know, they actually get possessed. And there's people in the ufology that say there are no negative ETs, there are no, just open wide, let anything come in. And that's the most irresponsible thing I've ever heard. Because if you've done any spiritual work, that's like spirituality 101 is there is a dark side and there are unseen negative influences, and we need to learn how to heal unseen negative influences and keep our fields clear and things like that. So it's like we teach, that's like day one when we do our seminars here. That's the first thing we teach is how to clear unseen negative influences, how to keep yourself shielded, and how to use discernment, on whether or not this being is really 5D on up, or is it some astral being floating around, jumping in.
And then that's crazy. James and I were just talking about James Kelly and I were talking about that the other day. I said, you clear yourself right before you go anywhere, because he's very sensitive to the environment. What are the ways, like other people, I know there's a lot of people that feel every single emotion in there with people. How would you recommend that and I grew up a medium. I'm sure everybody on this panel knows, like that's kind of the gateway in. So I've been doing this since I was a kid, but somebody else who doesn't really understand or how manipulative some of this stuff can be, if you're bringing your own garbage into it and your own baggage into it, it can go bad quick. So how do you tell people, I guess, when you have them there at the Eceti Ranch, how they can really protect themselves from some of this stuff? Yeah,
there's some basics, if it goes against universal law, which is really simple. Universal peace, brother, sisterly love, individual freedom and prosperity is one. And the other one is if they come in and they tell you you're the chosen one, you're flattery. You know, there's 3 people that fall victim to flattery every time, and it's men, women, and children, basically. Right. But flattery thing too, like you're special and you're this, because we're all special. And anything that divides, you know, that creates division and things, is like they're trying to hook you through your ego, the spiritual ego. And there's a lot of safeguards you have to watch out for. And if you just stay in service to others, and you focus on love and joy and bliss, and that's your connection, and that's the realms they're living in, you know. But when they start getting into judgment, a lot of heavy energy, and they will be, you know, they'll tell you, you know, there are reptilians, there are royal reptilians, there are demonics, they'll tell you about that, but they're not like, you have to be very scared, you know. They're doing it with loving detachment, and they'll tell you how to work with them, how to clear them. I mean, I got hit just a couple of days ago by some very nasty ones, and you know, felt like it was, it just felt like 2 knives stuck right into my kidneys, basically. And then I cleared it, and then the Palladians came in, and just, it's gone. It's like, as fast as it hit me, it was gone. And so there are beings that the greater your light, the more the moths come to the flame, the more you're working with higher consciousness and energy. There's a responsibility to keep your fields clear, and you will be challenged. And also too, I kind of want to warn people that right now everybody's in process. I mean, the whole earth's in process right now. So a lot of people are blaming, and they're not taking personal responsibility, and blaming others, and all this stuff is going on. And so, and the greater your light, the more you're going to amplify and mirror back to people, you know, what's within themselves. So they're going to be projecting it on you, and you did this, you know, like this. I'm not happy because, you know, and when they do that, I go, well, you're not happy because you're not happy. and this is your story right now, you know. And I have a t-shirt that says, I'm not your father, I'm not your mother, I'm not your ex-lover, I'm just sitting here. You know, we have to, we have to really make our own personal connection with whatever creator, God, great spirit, and then do some research about the images of God, because most people have images of the bearded gods of old, you know, and you have the Hebrew gods. There was 2 of them, you know. You've got the Egyptian gods, the Greek gods, the Sumerian gods, you know, the bearded gods of old, and a lot of religions were based on that. But, you know, you're not working with the absolute, the all that is, whatever you want to call it. And so you got to go back to whatever created them, you know, and get beyond that. So you can play that game. How big is your God? You know, like with people, it's kind of fun. But that's the main thing, is we really have to make our own personal connection with creator, you know, God, great spirit, whatever name you want to give it. And then learn how to keep our fields clear, how to heal unseen negative influences, and develop your inner sensitivity so you can sense and feel the nature of who you're working with. You know, you can feel their agenda right off the bat. And so a lot of us can do that right now. When people come on the ranch, some people I'll hang out with, other people I'll just say, what was that? And I'll just walk away.
Yes, there are those too. There are those too in the community. You have to be cautious. It's like, man, I wish you could believe everything everybody said, but you know, if you want to know really what contact is like, and you're experiencing contact and are confused about things, don't go to them. They're not going to help you. You won't be able to even emotionally connect to what they're saying.
Yeah, the debunkers are hilarious. You know, we say Eceti is where the debunkers come to die, because they cannot wrap their head around the things they're seeing, and they try to package it into something they know, and they can't, you know, and you're having a non-physical event, and you're trying to put it into a test tube and into your belief system, and they go nuts here. You know, it's kind of because there's multidimensional reality happening here, and it really freaks them out. And when they're through with all their stuff, then we'll talk to them, but I've had NASA people here, and big crystalline kind of pinkish orange ship came right over us, and this guy was jumping up and down. He goes, that's a Piper Cherokee 6. And I go, I've actually flown those. And I said, he goes, that's the cabin lights. I said, no, that's not the cabin lights. This is the crystalline light. No running lights, no strobes on it, nothing. Flew right over us, and he was like jumping up and down and kind of like challenging everybody. And finally I told him, I said, you see that backhoe over there? They keep it up. It's like
they try and wreck it. Like, but some people I just don't think are ever capable of seeing one. Like the MUFON investigator that I had to begin with, oh my God, he was measuring the telephone poles, and I said, you're missing what's going on. And there was a craft that was there, and he's like, no, that's stationary. And then it was gone. I said, well, your stationary craft disappeared while you're up here measuring the telephone poles. It's like, come on.
Yeah. It really isn't a mind thing. It's more of a heart thing.
Yeah.
And so you can feel them, and you can experience their energy when they come in, and I can feel them coming before they even show up. And we've proven that redundantly. We told them, we did it for Ancient Aliens. We told them exactly when and where the ships would come, everything. And I gave them all the information of all the different groups, who's here, what their agendas are, and they canned it. All they did was show my hand grabbing for a camera. They just canned it. So it's entertainment. They're entertainment. They're not disclosure. They're not here to really tell us what's going on.
That's so true too. And then it helps, it does not help the cause, because how the Hollywood experience of this is not what it's like at all. Not the same.
No. I tell people, do not go to your politicians. Don't go to CNN, or even Fox News is got some good stuff on it, but it doesn't going to give you the whole picture. And definitely don't go to the UFO community to figure out what's going on.
No, don't do that.
Do your research, go within and go from there, and then you'll get a better picture. But it's sad, because I was part of that community for a while. I was going to all the conferences. I was a keynote speaker, and you know what really shut me down was I started talking about all the missing children and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden I was like kryptonite. They didn't.
Oh, well, I bet that really come on, yeah. Oh, you need to start talking about anything like that, and ooh, wow, you're blacklisted.
Yeah, Hollywood, or the satanic Luciferian group that's funding a lot of this stuff. That's kryptonite. Once you talk about that, all of a sudden you're like off.
Which is so telling in itself, because why else would they care if they didn't care they were telling the truth about the cults that exist in this? Because they do, about the people that lie in this, because they are. And it makes you really put into perspective, like, how many people are actually really like those true experiencers, and those, I don't know why they would want to take it on. I have no clue, but obviously there's an agenda.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you really look at the money. We're the international banksters, right? And they are, it's pretty well known. There are a bunch of satanic Luciferian groups there, and they don't want this information out. It's almost like Jesus would reappear. What would happen? They would, all the big pharma would go after him. The whatever the mental health institutions were saying, hey, it's like, we're going to lock you up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's
the industry would go, oh my God, he's going to create peace. We'll be out of business. And so you really think about it, it's the same element. I'm not trying to say I'm Jesus or anything, but it's the same thing going on right now. The war on disease profiteers, and the deception, and the kickbacks, and all that stuff. Somebody that comes in that's authentic, that's going to say what needs to be said, not what you want to hear. Right. They're like, I get rid of this person. We can't.
There's a squeaky wheel. Take care of it. Yeah, they don't like that at all. I've been on the opposite end of that so many times, and I don't even care. Like, but they do. It's real. Like, people don't think. I was like, oh, who cares if they think it's crazy or not? I'm here for a bigger. Well, you know what? Someday that I'm not even joking. You, some of the stuff that happens in this community with the people who are telling the truth, they are sacrificing, and people are putting themselves on the line. And I know both of these individuals that are up here today, and many who are in the chat, I know personally who have. And there's an element. I mean, there's always a trade-off. So if you don't think that these people are putting their lives and everything on the line, I mean, there's sanity. Everything. I mean, you don't realize how your own community will toss you to the like wolves in a matter of seconds, and that's what happens. They do, and they'll flip it right on you.
What's behind the control narrative too, because you know the agencies are behind that too, and the people that are aligned with the agencies have the pulpit. You know, they're the first go-to basically, but it's pretty bad. And you know, I tell people go, I want to be like you. And I said, no, you don't.
Yeah, you don't.
No.
You don't have any idea the adversarial stuff I've had to deal with. You know, I've been shot at, I've had my brake lines cut, my nuts taken off, and character assassinated. You know, I've been debanked, demonetized, everything. And
you're wiped down, probably your bank account's hacked. I mean, your phone gone. I mean, people don't understand the levels and the layers.
They keep killing my computers here. I need to get a spare again, but they kill my computers all the time. And I took it in. The guy goes, man, you have every agency inside your computer and other countries. And I go, yeah, but I don't care. I'm an open book. I'll tell them if they come and sit with even the Air Force, whatever. If you want to know what's going on, you know, come on down. We'll pour a cup of tea or coffee, you know, and I even had like 17 ministers come here, and we sat down and I explained it to them what's going on. And then I showed them where it was all throughout the Bible. And they go, well, we're going to go home and read, you know, we'll come back, you know, but it's like, I'm not hiding anything. I have nothing to hide.
No, and that's you're putting it all out there. That's the way it should be. That you're authentic and genuine. Shouldn't have to be so calculated, you know?
Yeah, that's one thing that I tell people is like, I didn't ask for this.
Yeah.
No.
Why would my life be in chaos right now? I had to throw away a laptop and a cell phone just recently because they've taken down my websites constantly. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for my family to disown me.
No.
You know, it's so when people
and that comes with
wow,
it.
I wish I could be an experiencer. Nah, no, you don't.
Yeah.
I always say, be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. I know Mary Rodwell talks a lot about the tall poppy, you know, and the crabs in the pot, you know, and if one's climbing out, the others pull it back. And if the poppy's too tall and shiny and they cut it, you know, they try to, and it's just weird. It's this tall poppy syndrome that goes on. And unfortunately, the UFO community is very, very competitive.
I know.
And I would have to say they're not coming from impeccable integrity, because I've had so many knives stuck in my back and people, and I already knew they were going to do it. And before they did it, I even told people, I go, this guy's going to totally betray us. And they go, oh no, that would never happen. No, he loves you. He loves what's going on. I go, no, he's going to do it. And sure enough, boom, you know, they did it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I trusted somebody impeccably, as if they were my own sibling. And the whole time they were taking my phone calls and twisting them and doing all that, to the point that now I am just a subject to them. Yeah. Which is sad, because I loved them, I cared for them, but they didn't care for me in return. They just wanted my information.
Yeah,
we've had several coups here where they tried to take over, and I told them, I said, there's two things that you forgot. One, where did you get all your information from? And two, whose name is on the deed? You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You just perfected your exit strategy, you know, like have a nice day, and you know, you've got a couple of weeks to pack up and find another place, you know. So it's sad that you have to do that, but and you know, some are just weak. They have weak minds, and they allow things to come in, and they prey on their ego, and they go, we're the chosen ones, and they try to push you backstage, you know. And it's really sad, but that happens here over and over, and they're just not strong enough to, because there are other influences they're going to turn turn people against you and try to sabotage the work you're doing. And you know, after a while there, I had to just practice loving detachment. And I hate to say it, but create a I don't give a shit attitude. Like, I don't care what you think about
You have to. I got there too, because I said, oh my God, here I am sucked into all this human stuff again. I'm going to be that passenger in the moving train, and we're going to push forward, because that's what you really do. You have to detach. Otherwise, those people take you right down with them. You know, they'll
I don't even engage. You know, I don't. There's a couple times I had to engage because these people are just saying these heinous things. And I mean, I talked about it earlier. I mean, everything from I have a Russian bestiality cult or something like that.
Oh my God.
But, yeah, I go, how far are you guys going to go with this? You know, it's like unbelievable. And I go, this is like laughable now. But, you know, there were people, I don't want to get into it, but I know Wilcox and Corey Good and those guys, they have some conferences coming up, but they
you can't even tell me they're bringing Corey No Good back on the scene.
They get back on the scene, thank God, you know. But and I love Corey. Corey comes out to the place, you know, we're good friends, you know, and he knows too much. There's no way there is no way he would have all that information and not be authentic, because I know things that only he knew and nobody else was talking about them. And he brought that information out, and I go, this guy's legit. You know, he's definitely legit.
What happened to him? Yeah, because Laura Eisenhower was real good friends with him too, and she's detached from him a little bit too. So I don't know. It's like he just took a real dark turn.
Well, he just got tired. He got tired. I mean, he had so many backstabbers and so many things happened to him that, and I was in the middle of that because they were attacking me too. And I go, hey, look. I go, look, I had the guy speak at my conference. I said, what? A lot of people come and speak at my conference. You know, they have a right to tell their story and let karma go where karma goes, you know. And I just said, why are you attacking me? Why are you so threatened by him telling his story? You know, and it was crazy. Like, major people in the field, you don't know their names, I won't go into it, but they just went on the attack and they said, we're going to destroy your career and everything else. And I said, you know what? I don't take threats very lightly. I said, you have fun with that. And I said, but it's going to backlash on you. And so I just copied everything they said and all the stuff they're doing and the stunts they're pulling. And I actually, on radio shows, I actually, you know, copied what they said and I played it back. I go, look, this is what these guys are saying. And I played everything they said back, and they thought it was going to destroy me, you know, my character and everything. I go, I don't have anything to hide. Here's what they're saying. You know, you guys decide. You decide, you know, what if this is. And I said, but, you know, people that do this kind of stuff, I don't think you should worship them or become followers, because they've showed very clearly they're spiritually impaired. You know, they're not walking their talk. You know?
Yeah, they have a lot of baggage that you don't want to pick up on. Like you said, you got to clear it out.
They're trying to sue me and everything. And I said, you can't sue me. All I did was copy what you said and put it out there. I go, how can, you know?
Just like they do with everything. Are you serious? Like, what's right for thee, but not for me.
Yeah. Same old thing. But that's all collapsing right now. That's all imploding.
It is.
Because they're not frequency specific to what's happening. And so those groups are it's all going to be revealed who they are, what their true agendas are. And the ones that are really in charge right now are, well, the Pleiadians are the ones that are in charge, but they're working with all the councils because they did more terraforming here than anybody, and they have more genetic stock. And so they're the ones that are mainly in charge, but they're working together with all the other groups, you know, and good luck trying to stop that, you know.
Is there any way that they can stop it? I guess. And two, I guess for people who are here, do you think that or have you identified like where you think that your star system is, or is that like a thing? Or, I mean, how do you think they all operate? And they seem to be kind of in sync with some of this. You can't assume that all of them are good by any stretch of your imagination, or all of them are bad by any stretch of your imagination. But just like humans, there's good and bad. But we're not all who we say we are. That's all I'm going to say there.
Yeah, there's it goes back to the mind in which you seek is the mind in which you connect. And if you haven't dealt with your shadow side and you've got a lot of baggage and stuff, then other entities of that same frequency will start coming through. And so if you are going to be any kind of a channel or bringing messages in and things like that, we have to really deal with our own shadow side and do our work and get as clear as we can, and then try to connect to the highest level we can as well, so we can bring clear messages. Because in the beginning I was working with a lot of different groups, and some of their best channels that in these groups were doing 70%, and they realized that. They said 30% was social conditioning or the being that they're connecting with, and they're aware of that, and there's safeguards. And because of the two near-death experiences I had, I was doing like 95, 98%. But a lot of the trained channels out there are doing maybe 70%, which is really, it's good. I mean, that's high. You're bringing a lot of good information in, but there's still, so you always have to use discernment. There's still 30% that is their own social, they add their beliefs. It's like some guy will see a ship and go, oh, they're angels, and they're this, and that's happening. I won't mention guy's name, but he's putting a real religious,
I know what you're talking about.
and a real religious program to it, and it's way beyond that. There's it's like you see a light ship or a light being appear to you. It could be a Pleiadian and Rhine Council of Light. It could be Andromeda or Turian, or it could be anything, or it could be somebody masking themselves as light, but not. That happens as well too. So a lot of people just they haven't had the proper training, and they're just letting anything come through, and that's why you're getting this big chaotic information coming through, with weird dates and times, and it never happens, but
I'm not so apt to because it's always like the timeline's off, and as soon as you got it or you grab a hold of that narrative, it just changes ever so slightly. So you always have to keep adjusting, The
Pleiadians are doing. I think we're going through one right now. Actually, they're. I think it's going to hit starting today or tomorrow, and the Pleiadians are doing these time folds, and they're folding time. And so, right when we get to the edge of something really negative happening, they do this time fold, and we jump past it, and we get back on the positive timeline. And so they're doing a lot of that, and it's almost every 3 days now they're doing that. So whatever you were told 3 days ago is going to be totally different 3 days. We jump that timeline onto back on the positive timeline. So it's crazy, because like when you go, oh yeah, I connect with the Pleiadian, and I go, well, when? And they go, what do you mean when? I go, well, when are they from? And they go, you mean where are they from? I go, no, when?
When are they from?
They have time travel. They got some really old Pleiadians that are popping in and out, and then they have some coming from the seventh dimension. So you want to find out what dimension they're coming from and when. Not just who. There's so much more to the story, is what I'm saying. Much more than we
meets the eye.
Yeah.
So much below the surface is like peeling back an onion. You just can't get, there all in one. I mean, this is a story, a journey. This is a journey, not a destination type deal.
Yeah, there's massive cleanup on what's below the surface right now. They're almost done with it. They've cleaned out most of it.
I hope, it needs to happen. And hopefully some of this stuff, when these people clear, it's like clearing the air. And I think we are, like James said, we've put enough holes into this veil that it's past the point. We can't stop it. It's already in motion. It's happened. It's done. And so that's why I said, disclosures happen. Disclosures right now. If you want to find out and you want to know about specific, put all your questions in caps, because you got right now in front of you a team of people, and like I said, I've had a lot of people, but never to the extent that James Gilliland is able to communicate, and James Kelly too. He's really in contact. So that's amazing. When you see them, I guess they're different to everybody. What do they look like? Can you identify them when they come, or you're like, oh yeah, I know that person, or I know that being? And
well, something interesting happened to me, because I was I was in the bathtub actually, and I was meditating, and I just said, I want to know what this is about. What's my role here? You know, why are these ships coming here and everything else? And I go, I don't care if it kills me. And so this beam comes through the wall and hits me in the center of the chest. And they pulled me up on the ship, and I was a light being, but I was talking to these other 6-dimensional beings with the Orion Council of Light. And 3 gold balls of energy came down and hit me in the chest, which I didn't know what they were. And they told me all your memories have been returned. And so I told them I wanted proof that this is a real event. This just isn't a dream or something. And they left a big burn mark in the middle of my chest. I have the photographs of it, and it morphed. It morphed from a circle to a triangle to a heart, and then it just went away. It was weird. And I had doctors check it out and everything. It's all been documented, but they returned all of my past lives, off-world past lives, everything to me. And so when I'm meeting these people, they're like family. They're and we're all that way. We think we're just a body and a personality. We're an eternal spirit, and we're a multidimensional being existing on a vibrational continuum. And we've had all these vast experiences, but we're running around thinking we're a body and a personality, and that's it. And the social engineering on this planet, which is about ready to collapse, that whole network that's suppressed everything is collapsing. That keeps people in the first 3 chakras, really, which are survival, sex, and power. It locks you into those 3 chakras. And so you don't explore your soul, which is your heart, and you don't explore, your multidimensional self or all that stuff. And you gotta do your time in nature. You gotta do your meditation time and ask for help, to remember. And they'll help you. I had to ask before it happened to me. But I was never able to that. I had no doubt anymore what was going on, and I knew. And then the beings kept appearing to me, and I've seen everything from ET like guys, like the movie ET, and they had robes on, and they appeared in the field, and I asked the masters. I said, "Who was that?" And they said, "Those are the ancient ones. They're the teachers of the masters." And we've had like Kuan Yin, Babaji, Mary appear here, all the masters. We actually have photographs of most of them. I've sent some of those to you.
Yes.
And so it's more than it's really going to blow people's mind, because the ascended masters are tied into this. The Andromedans, who are mythologically known as archangels, are part of this. The nature spirits, the elven kingdom, the fairy kingdom, it's all part of this. It's all interconnected. Even Bigfoot's part of it. And it's all interconnected, and it's all one. So it all exists within the unified field of consciousness and energy, and we choose how much we want to experience.
That's true.
Yeah, and so if we want to think we're just a body and a personality, that's our choice. God's going as you wish. If that's what you want to be. It's not going to judge you or anything. It's going to say as you wish. If you go, hey, I want to explore my multidimensional self, my eternal soul and where it's been, the universe is going to open doors for you to do that. But if you're afraid, if you have a lot of fear, you're not going to have that experience. You have to master fear, because most people, when they see a being appear to them, they're gone. They're, oh God, it's a ghost.
It's a game over for them on that one. Because you're right too. Because I always talk about that. There's so many layers to this. And like you said, this isn't just something overnight that develops. You have to put a lot of effort into each and every step that you take. But you'll be met with that layer of fear and resistance.
It's not like a drive through McDonald's, and you're going to pay $1,200 and now you're an avatar. It doesn't work that way. You have to earn it.
That's true. That's very true. And you're right too. And you got to put that intention. You got to ask, like you said, like it wasn't as natural maybe at first, but I was asking for help. And when you ask them for help, they don't turn their backs on you, especially. Yeah.
And they let me experience all the other side, the dark side too, as part of my training and learning process. So I had to experience that. And I got pissed off at the masters once, and I go, what the hell was that? Why'd you allow that to happen? I thought I had protection. And they go, you did well. You did well. And I go, what do you mean I did well? I got my butt handed to me on that one. And they said, no, you have to learn who these beings are, how they operate. You have to know they're real and how to hold your own. They said that's part of your self-mastery. And
Yes.
yeah, and so I said, all right, it's like but at the time, these things, you deal with them and you take some pretty bad hits sometimes from them, but they always put you back together, which is nice.
Yeah, I know that I asked one of the Arcturians, I'm like, why are you allowing the Greys to take me, cause so much pain to my body and my mind, and causing physical, documented harm to my body? And they said the exact same thing. It's part of you have to learn this in order to come out the other side to be better. Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's a hard lesson because
yeah,
there's a lot.
Not
It's like
easy.
being
It's
tortured.
not easy.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't trade anything for the knowledge I gained through those experiences, but I really don't want to do it again.
No, I'm good the first time. I'm learning to be able to do it, so I won't have to go through it again.
Because
they're
those great, they're very powerful. They can take over your mind. They can immobilize you. And when they try to come in, they give me a headache, and right away I call on the higher beings and they take them out. But they were doing that to me at 5 years old. They were trying to mess with me, and luckily the Pleiadians came in and put an end to it.
Yeah, I know when I was 8, I was out playing in the yard, and all of a sudden my mind was taken over by some gray, and I could see them putting me on a table, experimenting with me, and I couldn't get out of it. It was like I was locked into a dream or something. Yeah. And then afterwards I was gone, and then I got migraines and I got really sick and I couldn't get out of it. But have you had
wake up with bruises and scratch marks on you and things like that, and you go, where did that come from? Yeah,
and it's funny because my wife came out of the shower the other day, and she had 3 small bruises on her bicep of her arm and 2 small bruises on her ankle. She goes, this is weird. I must have bumped myself. I'm like, I love you. And I didn't go with it because she's still trying to digest all of this. And I feel like with telling her more and more, it's kind of like putting a junior high kid in college. It's just not, they're just not ready yet.
Yeah, it's kind of here. We can take people from ground zero all the way up to the, 13th dimension, basically. If they want to put the time in. But the good news is everybody's going to have a crash course in this.
Yes, eventually.
Because everything's coming in and everybody's rising up, and you can go kicking and screaming, or you can do it the easy way. It's it's up to you.
You have to relinquish that power and control. You can't sit there. You're not in control. It's like as much as
the last frontier is giving up control.
Yep.
But not to these other beings or external beings. You're giving up control to the God within you, and that's what keeps you safe. And you say, okay, it's out of my pay grade. I need some help here. And
take care of me.
Yeah, no. Well, you fly, James Gilliland. I also have my pilot's license. I have an FAA. I'm just part 141, single engine. But anyway, when you're going, I just remember going on in the solo flight. And if you've flown an airplane or if you've ever gone to take off, you have to land that airplane as well. And I just remember thinking, here goes nothing, but I'm gonna, that's just the attitude that I've always had with things. But it's so much because when you have that and you are resisting, and deep in your soul that you're supposed to change and that it's coming, so you can try however you want, but there's no stopping it. Like not once the wheels are in motion.
Once you're in the air, you don't have to worry about it, because you're not going to die. It's that sudden impact at the end.
I know. Now I got up here. I need to figure out a way to get back down there. But
you're okay. But I don't know. I mean, I've flown a couple times just with people that were really trained, and they gave me some free lessons, but I didn't land. That's going to be a while. I didn't do it enough for that, but they just showed me how to work the instruments and how to follow the beams and all that stuff,
Oh yeah.
Because they wanted to take a nap.
You have to really trust yourself. It's a lot of building trust with yourself, I think. And in anything like that just is a good analogy for me. But if anybody else, like, I mean, it's just like the riding the wave, you're on the wave, you think about it too much. You're riding that bike, you're going to fall and you're going to crack your head off the side, off the concrete. This is the way it is. Can't think over.
I never worried about, I've been in planes that were on fire and things like that. The whole wing's on fire.
Oh my God.
And my mom was just freaking out. My dad, don't tell her. Don't tell her. And I'm looking out, and then she finally sees it and just freaks out. So we're gonna be okay. I had more work to do. Yeah.
Yes. No, that's great. The more you can detach from that type of resistance, the further you can get. And I think you're living proof of that.
What are you gonna do about it? If you do a nosedive, I mean,
I'll wake up and we're gonna have to start this whole journey over again, and we're not doing that. We've all declared we are not coming back. I always say that. I've said that since I was a young kid. I'm not doing this over again. I might have been running my mouth.
You go back, then you're on the other side, and you go, "Oh man, what I know now, I can go back and I can help my loved ones, my friends and family. I can tell them what's really going on, and they need to know this, and so you get that other feeling when you're on the other side. It's almost like my niece, she had a baby. She keeps having babies, and I go, every time you're going, you're in pain and all this stuff's happening, and then they have the baby and it's all gone. It's just gone, and you go, don't you remember any of that? It's like, and it's kind of like that way in a way. It's like, for some reason you go through all this trauma down here and you get on the other side and you go, it's like, it doesn't have the effect or the charge, that it had while you're here.
That's so true. Couldn't you hear yourself? And I could hear myself. I can take anything. Throw it at me, no problem.
Don't say that.
What am I thinking? You should learn your lesson. So
alcoholic father, wife beater, all that stuff. Oh no, I can handle that. I just want the body so I can incarnate and do my thing, and then you're a wreck afterwards. It's like you don't realize how hard it is.
Oh my God. Yeah, big mouth. That's what I think of myself.
The biggest joke we've played on ourselves is all this stuff that's happened to us is not us. It's not who we are. And you can actually gain the wisdom from the experience, and it settles in the soul, and you can release the charge around it, and you're going to be the wiser for it. But don't let your trauma define you. It's because if you do, it's going to take you out. And so you got to go back to that eternal soul that you are, and connect with that. And then you come from that position, you go, oh, that was interesting. And then you can actually see why the person did it. And you see how they were traumatized and they're just a potato, and you see the big picture, and all of a sudden you just let it go.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any other, I don't see any way through this other than through trauma. So, but you have to, that's also kept as a control mechanism too. It's like people can't get past, and I was stuck there too for the people that are like, oh, I just got to figure out what this means. Let it go. Let it go. They will show you when it's time to know, and you will just you have to keep digging. Yes.
Or you could go like the transpersonal release sessions we do. We go in there and we start off and we find out who their main teacher and guide is. And then it's like, this is your reading your books basically. And we clear out the childhood trauma. And then we go into past life trauma and clear that out. And then we find out their beneficial lives that they've lived, that they've gained a lot of wisdom and things, and reconnect those. I mean, at the end, they hook up with their main teacher and guide, and there's a big wash that happens. And it's like a quantum leap in consciousness. But I've had other counselors call it the Roto-Rooter. It's like a spiritual Roto-Rooter. But you can
hitting them 10-4. Like you're going to go through this, and it's like, have you had people that couldn't handle it or couldn't tolerate it, or?
Well, the universe brings the people to us that are ready. And I have had experiences where psychologists have brought people and they said, I can't help this person. It's out of and they didn't want to be there anyway. And so when we started going through the process, they didn't feel safe. They didn't want to do it. And what happens, they went home, and as soon as they felt safe and got in their own environment, it all boom came up, but really people need to come on their own fruition. They have to be guided to come here. They have to be ready, to release the past, to heal. And, you can only do so much. You can't trespass, on somebody else's free will and things like that. So, it depends. I haven't really, the only complaint I ever had was when I had a couple people that were brought here. It was like an intervention, and it wasn't their choice. And I even told them that. I said, I'll do whatever I can to help you, but this is you have to choose to heal and release this. You have to be open to it, and it's understandable. I mean, who do you trust? There's
Yeah, it's true.
that all the people we have trusted in have pretty much failed. The medical institutions, the psychological, all that stuff is kind of a fail because they can't go in depth and go into the real problem.
That's so true too. And then they don't even realize how they failed the people. I mean, it's just unbelievable how they have failed.
When in college I took psychology and philosophy and was it psychology and chemistry, and I got an F in all three because
you didn't remember the lies, James. You didn't remember the lies.
I asked them these questions that really pissed them off, and they told me, "Don't come back to class. We're just giving you an F." And I'm going, "I'm not." They thought I was being obnoxious, and I wasn't. I was just, and I wrote a paper on past lives and how past life trauma can affect you in this life, and the how it's very well documented. People have memories of where they live, their name, their family, everything, and I had all the documentation. I wrote it all out, and the guy reads it and he goes, "F."
What now? What now? Oh man.
And physics and stuff, I was just saying, okay, there's got to be some intelligent design going on here. There's got to be everything could not come together through randomly. It's impossible. That there's some kind of intelligence that put everything together and knew how everything works and right down to the atom. And it goes back to just consciousness, like everything is just condensed consciousness, and it goes from consciousness to light to energy to mass, and that's the real physics. But if you went beyond mass, they would get really upset at you, because they can't put it in a test tube or measure it, so.
Oh yeah, they can't contain it. You're in trouble.
Why don't colleges teach? They say all this information isn't going to get out till the old professors die, because they're teaching the old stuff, and it's just not practical. It's so limited, not practical.
It is too. That's so true.
Yeah, it looks like somebody had a question about how a blue orb passed them, and as it passed them, it turned red. He wanted to know why that was going on, James.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Somebody asked a question that a blue orb had passed by them, and then it turned red when it left, and they wanted to know why.
I've seen ships do that when they're in our field. They'll be doing kind of a yellow, orange, or red, and some of the really dark red orbs that are murky dark, you want to stay away from. Those are lower level stuff. You want to. A lot of times it's like some shaman that was doing dark magic that crossed over, and you want to stay away from those energies. But the blue orbs are always benevolent. They're beautiful. I've even seen Bigfoot turn into an orange orb, but it was bright orange. It wasn't the dark murky ones, and even light orbs. But most of them are just beings without bodies. That's their spirit form is a light sphere, and one of our forms is a light sphere. We have within us. I actually filmed mine coming out, and you can go out and you can jump dimensions and see with 360 degrees and experience what's on all these other dimensions, and so that's one of our bodies, in our vibrational continuum that we really are basically.
That's so true too. Like the container, there's just so much that goes through to all this. When you see them now, how do you identify them? Are people who are like, oh, I'm connected to this, star system, or I know which I'm connected to, and I can say for myself, but I guess in your experience, um, how do you identify them, or how would you, like, what do they look like to you, or how do they come and talk to you? I guess in
Yeah,
each, you're also individually unique,
you had a lifetime where your ears were up here. a feline lifetime. Have you explored that one yet?
Oh no, say that again. No,
You had a lifetime where your ears were on top of your head.
Oh yeah,
On the
that's the
side,
way I feel it.
and a lot of times I'll see images, overlays of people, and I can tell, and I feel like I've met them before. I know them from somewhere, and then I go within and ask, and I'll find out, we were on ships together, we went through the Orion Wars together, or things like that, and usually I notice right away. There's a question here. I guess a woman says, have you had an entity with no physical form with enough strength to only give you enough breath to keep you in the pay attention mode? Yeah, and they're usually not good. But a lot of different entities can do that. I mean, even there's these goat-headed beings that love to sit on your chest, kind of pin you down. Usually those aren't good. If they're messing with you, and you just do clearings, you just call on the higher beings and do clearings. And the clearings are on our website. They're free, and they're in all my books, in the back of my books and everything else. But yeah, if they're holding you down, if they're trespassing on you and doing things like that, they're usually not in your highest and best good.
Which is like the short grace. So everybody's talking. And I remember when I didn't like that. I did not like that feeling at all. But sometimes it's like you overlook things. And then when I was talking to you about them, it kind of clicked and made more sense, like as to what was going on. But like you said too, there's your star system that's protecting you, and you work a lot with the Pleiadians, and that they're there to do that intervention, which is absolutely wonderful, because I don't know how you could continue to do this work mentally, physically,
Right.
If you didn't have.
I mean, on every level. I mean, even as a kid, I was sitting up on these rocks, and the Pleiadians and one by the name of Blajee would come to me. She was a 7th dimensional Pleiadian. I had Mary coming to me all the time because she saved me in the hospital when I was 5 years old. And they would tell me things, and they would explain to me why people behaved the way they were. And they would say, people think one thing, say something else, and feel something else. And they said, you're getting all three inputs, so it's going to be confusing. So you have to understand, you have to just stay in the heart and forget about what they say. Just tune into their heart, and you'll know what they really want. But like with my mother, my mother's crossed over, rest her soul. But we had a lot of stuff going on, past life stuff being worked out, and there's things happening, and I couldn't understand them. And then I found out that we had a lifetime in Greece together. And what happened is, when my father died, he gave me the restaurant and the store, and gave her a dowry and said, go get married. Well, she worked in there alongside of me, for a long time. I didn't think it was fair, but it was tradition, and they wouldn't change. And I said, well, after he crosses over, I'll bring you in as a partner. And so she was very pissed off about that and everything. And she just left, and he goes, I'm done, and so anyway, that carried over in this lifetime. So there's always this, whenever I had something I really liked or loved, she would take it away from me, even my dog, And so that would traumatize you in this lifetime if you didn't have the overview, say, oh, that's what she's working out. She's working out this. And I told her, I said, this is what you're really working out. And I explained it to her. She goes, that's nonsense. And she got really angry at me because I know I hit a nerve.
Oh yeah.
But when you can see the overview of why things are happening, and you see the past life overviews and everything else, it'll make sense. But on this level, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense.
Definitely not. There's no way you can make sense out of it. On this level, you're not going to ever escape it.
And you're a little kid, and you're going, why are they doing this? This makes, why? And here's this person that's supposed to love me and nurture me, but they're going off on these other tangents. So it doesn't it doesn't make any sense to you as a kid. And then when you have guides I'm sitting on these big granite boulders, and I was sitting up there, and they would come and show me the whole past life and everything. So I was really lucky, in that case.
So yeah, so you had you and both James Kelly. I did not. I was not a childhood experiencer, but I grew up in the paranormal, which is obviously I don't know where they connect or how they connect, but it's like one and the same when you start to get really far into this. I mean, you might just different time, different place, but yeah, there's so many connections. So when you were growing up, what was it like in your household? Did your parents, did they have experiences? Did their family members, or was it they were like, oh man, this is completely like too much? Or I mean, you hear that a lot with families, like they can't digest it all. They're not meant to.
People always go, well, what happened when you grew up? And I go, I didn't, because adulthood sucks. But anyway, there's an old saying, you got to become like a child, before you can enter into heaven. And that sense of awe and that love and that joy. But it's weird because as I was a kid, my brother was having the same experiences and seeing a lot of the same things. And my dad, when he crossed over, he went back to the sixth dimension as the Ryan Counts of Light, and they're like planetary liberators. So he was aware of all this stuff, but he was a dentist and he didn't want people to know. And he would pull us over on the road and he would say, get out, look up. And there'd be like 5 ships right over us, following us. And we're like 5, 6 years old and things like that. So he knew, and he was like the dad you always wish you had, he would listen, compassionate, loving, wise. And I always say he was like a walking Buddha. And some of the masters I'm working with are the same thing. They're like the father you always wish you had. I mean, their energies are just so beautiful and loving. And I always say it's never too late to have a happy childhood. Give yourself things you didn't get as a kid.
Yes. I still roller skate. I mean, I'm out there like a big kid. You got to find that, and that's that inner child, and you got to nurture that inner child and let that inner child run free and rampant, because that's what it's. I mean, there's nothing like playing like that type. That's the connection right there.
Everybody else in the family got brand new bicycles, right? And I didn't get one, and it was because of that past life thing. And so what I did, I went out, I just bought myself a really nice electric bike, and I'm out there and getting that out of my system, so it's
like when you see a craft, it's like that level of excitement. People don't realize there's ultimately, and James was saying before, and both of them touched on it, how you got to go with that inner instinct and what that feeling is like.
Yeah. If you hear the videos I showed you, you hear everybody just screaming.
Yeah. You do too. Yeah.
They're going, all right. They're going, yeah. And they're all like really happy. And that's the energy. I mean, we start telling bad jokes out in the field just to get people laughing, so they can get their energies up and not be in fear. And when you get the energy right, they come in nice and low and they show themselves. But if you have a bunch of like debunkers or left brainers, that just don't, they drop the energy down and you don't have as good an activity. So the consciousness of the group creates the experience, basically.
So is it like the collective consciousness or the Christ consciousness? People don't understand. Like when people are like gods, you are God. You just don't understand what that means.
Well, the omnipresence thing that I always ask a lot of the fundamentalist people come here. I go, do you believe God's omnipresent? And they go, yeah. And I go, well, where do you have to go? You go, you have this plan for me. You think I have to do this and this and this and this so I can be where you are, and you think you're up here and I'm down here and you're here to save me. And I said, but I said, you only have the reference points to see what you know, not what I know, so it's kind of funny. I have fun with them, but
that's so true though. And I bet does it get frustrating from time to time? Like, you're like, man, I'm tired of having to, because you're working with a lot of people and a lot of different levels of acceptance or understanding.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a big.
I have fun with it now. It used to bother me, but now I have fun with it, and then I see their big red buttons and I like to push them and as a favor to them, but they get a little upset sometimes, but it's I actually have
through all that programming, everything that when people say that, like I got this response. I said, that's their programmed response. Okay. You got to just excuse them for being who they are, because they're never going to be where you are and they're never going to understand what you understand. So just,
and they go, you're this, and this. And I said, as you wish. And they go, what do you mean? I go, I'll be whatever you want me to be. And,
Yeah,
you know, and,
you're the
yeah,
creator.
whatever you want to project on me, and they go, what, and I said, you're only seeing your own reflection, and your projections basically. And you have to deal with your shadow side before you figure out who I am. And I was on Nino show the other day, and he asked me, what do you think about all the people that are saying, well, Jesus is Lord and this and all, and all this other stuff. And I said, I have no problem with Jesus. We're buds, like that. And he said, well, what do you say to them? And I said, tell them to ask Jesus.
Yeah, he's got all the answers, and apparently
that's
he's more
Jesus
trustworthy than I am. So
we don't have any problems, but again, our whole history, who Jesus really was, is so far beyond the story that people know.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
the part written by
it goes
man.
into other dimensions, and it goes into other masters, transferring their conscious energy to him, which is why he picked the 12 disciples. And there's so much more to the story that most people aren't ready for.
No, they're not ready for it.
But I just said, they go, would you accept him as your personal savior? And I said, well, I'm really trying to do my best down here to give him a break.
There you go. That's a good
vacation. I'm going to take personal responsibility for my choices and actions and gain the wisdom.
Oh my God, you're taking accountability too.
Yeah.
This is too much.
Yeah, I said, what an endless babysitting job. I said, I give the guy a break. It's just like, if you need help with something, they're just a thought away. Basically, they're in that unified field, as everybody is, and you can connect with them. A lot of these spiritually advanced ETs, they're just using more of the unified field than we are.
Yeah.
That's the only
And
difference.
you really start to understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, they have access to more of that field. And so some of those guys we'd worship as gods, but they're not. They just have more access.
Oh gosh, yeah. Do not put anybody on a pedestal, and do not worship anything that is human of humankind. Like, you have to be really careful what was man written and what was actually, because it's all mixed in there. If it's written by man, you can, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even I could quote some things that Jesus said, but it would really piss some people off. But he always talked about, he goes, you search the scriptures in vain, for I speak of a living God. Well, he's talking about the living God that's within all life, everything, and then he talks about how the temple is within, and ye are all gods. And people didn't understand what he was trying to say. Oh, and he said, don't worship me because you diminish the God within you, and, he said all these things, and people don't understand what he was trying to say. You will do greater works than I, for I go on to the Father. But even Genesis is incorrect because it's been deciphered. Michal Ledwith deciphered it, and it says, in the beginning, the Father of all fathers created the gods who created the heavens and the earth. And it's a whole different story, because there are little g gods, and there is the absolute. That's, the one consciousness that encompasses all consciousness on all planes and dimensions, throughout the multiverse. And people mistake the little g God for the absolute a lot, so, because as I was saying before, the bearded gods of old, the Anunnaki that came here, they weren't God. Some were benevolent, some weren't, some, and so we have this thing we're doing this thing, we're going, I love you, God, but don't toast me, so you can't love and fear at the same time. It doesn't work. But you have to let go of the old image of the jealous, wrathful God, the genocidal God of the past, and connect with the all-loving, all-forgiving God that Jesus talks about. And that's the one all the other masters talked about. So it's like sin's just an archery term, means you missed.
Yeah.
And hell's a garbage pit. If you didn't have enough money, they would throw you on the garbage and burn you along with the rest of the garbage. Yeah. So it's like, it's not, they've changed the meaning of these words to create fear, guilt, and unworthiness, and control us, and we have to get away from that.
The shame piece. That's what we always, when I was trained, I believe a lot of the same things you do. And like, the whole, what happened to you in childhood is going to affect you now, and it's going to prevent that
Yeah.
child from being able to be playing and have fun. And, it does so much things to you. You don't even realize it just really, when you go through that distorted perception, when you can let go of that.
I shame the ships into powering up. They fly over and I go, that's it. That's your grandmother's ship. That's all you got, and we make fun of it. Out there it goes kaboom, like
Yeah.
But we have fun over there. There's just no judgment. We have fun, but we use discernment. We make sure we're working with benevolent beings that are in service, to humanity and the earth.
Wow. So have you ever recognized any, like, do you see, let's say, like, qualities in maybe like the human people that are connected to the star systems? Like, like James is really connected. I have a certain one that I'm really connected with. Do you see like any sort of like physical traits on any of us that you can identify?
You definitely, you can see it. Like some people, you look at them and go, well, that's a hawthorn. They even their face looks like a hawthorn and everything. And you can feel the energy around them. Some very powerful women. It's like Melania's tied into the House of Mary. And she's very connected to the Russian royal families and the House of Mary. So and people who are really sensitive, you tune into her, you just go, oh my God, and she's very regal, how she just doesn't engage and hold space and things like that. And so you can see there's certain people that are really holding a frequency, like you can kind of tell, like a lot of the Palladium people, they're really giddy. They're really giddy and they trust everybody. And they don't understand how somebody could actually lie or cheat or steal or or abuse them. It's just not part of the reality. And they have to get street smart when they incarnate, because they have to realize there are people down here that aren't on the same page they are. It's a rough one.
Yeah, no, I know that you say that, like, you should, because some of the things that you've talked about, and even like James Kelly and everybody, they experience it so different. I would love if you had like illustrations or something we could kind of, just to broaden people's understanding of what they, look like, or what they look like
We
to
actually have
us.
photographs of them. We have photographs of them.
Yeah.
Some you can see through them. They're not physical.
No.
They're like fifth dimensional, but you can see their form and what they look like, but you can see through them as well. Problem is, I'm not an artist. I'd have to sit down with somebody I have had people draw the Orion Council of Light, those beings. What's really weird is JJ Hurtak, when I drew these beings, and then he said, have you read the Keys of Enoch? And I said, well, I kind of thumbed through it. And I said, I need to go back and read it. But the beings that I was in contact with are actually in his book. And then, and they did some videos, and they showed videos and drawings of them and everything else. And I was going, wow, this is like exact. And he came up to me after I gave a lecture at the International UFO Congress and shook my hand. And he goes, oh, I want to thank you for the work you're doing. It dovetails into my work and things like that. And I go, oh, thank you. And I said, who are you? And he goes, JJ Hurtak. Oh yeah, the Keys of Enoch guy. It was kind of funny, but it's nice to know, to get validation, because validation never gets old in this world, because we're being invalidated constantly by friends and family and social consciousness. But he's
those westernized norms they try and squeeze everybody into. That just
I've seen people have shook their hand. I saw fire coming out of their eyes and things like that, and I go, whoa! I go, this is somebody I need to talk to.
So is that the way they kind of like will indicate? Do you think that person is letting you know, or do you think that
their higher self is coming through, or the masters are saying, look, show me things? But a lot of us are mixtures. We've had, just like we have mixed genetics here on Earth, we have spirit genetics too. Like some people are Pleiadian, Orion, Arcturian, Andromedan. The Andromedans are really tall, and they're mythologically known as archangels. A lot of times you see people are really tall, and they have that Andromedan frequency with them that they carry. Do you
think that's what they're using to identify us as? Do you think that there's like a frequency that we're emitting? Okay.
Yeah, they know us better than we know ourselves. And so when they look at us, they can see the different soul patterns kind of, and we do that too in the counseling work. We do the same thing. We can actually find out what your soul families are, what you're connected to, the higher dimensional connections and things like that.
How do you go about doing that? Like, what's your? That's fascinating.
Yeah, we have a technique. It's hard to explain, but it has a male-female balance, which allows us to access the highest levels, and then we access their higher self or some other master, main teacher, and guide that they're working with, and we just go through and go through your books. You know,
so like the Akashic records, or is it something?
Much, yeah.
Okay.
It's more, we get the childhood stuff out of the way too, and the trauma from past lives. We get all that out of the way, and then we can bring the other information in.
So like you said, everybody has to get to this point and they have to say, you know, I want to go to this next level. It's nothing you can force somebody into doing. They have to really come to that conclusion themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. Is that the higher beings won't trespass. You know, they're not going to trespass. And you have to, I always tell people, you know, we should all right now be asking, we should do our prayers, our meditation, and ask for help on high. And whatever that means to you, if it's the ascended masters, if it's God, you know, if it's spiritually and technologically advanced off-worlders, I mean, you know, God just doesn't have one guy that he sends to do everything, you know.
No, not like that anymore. Yeah, no.
More limited than that. You know, he has whole councils and civilizations and things that are helping, you know, so we have to expand our parameters.
That's so true. We had a question. I don't know, James, if you saw any other ones that went by, but by Jen. She wanted to know about an esoteric. Let me go up here and see if I can find it. She had a few questions. She wanted to know if you could go into a little bit more about the clearing too. And then she said, could some of the ancient esoteric entities be alien? If you had any.
Oh yeah.
That.
That's what I'm saying. It's all you can't separate the Pleiadians from the House of Mary. It's the same divine feminine energy. It's identical almost. And so it's really hard to tell the difference between Mary appearing to you or a Pleiadian. It's that kind of, so if you have a female Pleiadian appearing to you, they feel similar. They feel just pure love and joy and bliss. And then, and the Orion beings, when they come to you, the Orion Council of Light. Now there's the Orion Alliance. You don't want to work with that group because those are reptilians and grays and things like that. And you feel right away, you know, you go, ugh, you know, you'll get a gut punch, or you'll feel right away, especially the tall grays give you a headache because they're really intrusive. You know, they're very, and so you just have to set a boundary, but you can call the higher beings in and take them and have them removed, you know, get rid of them. But
what do they want? What is it that they want? These negative energy suckers. What do they want?
Feed off us. They feed off our energy. And a lot of them are experimenting, you know, and a lot of them know they're not going to make it. There's a big shift coming on. If they don't have love and joy and bliss, they aren't going to make this shift coming, and they know that. That's why they're doing all the hybrid stuff and everything. They're trying to breed emotions back into their race.
Yeah, because they don't have a range of emotions or that affect like we do here. It's just, you can't read them like that.
I really feel sorry for hybrids, because especially if you're a gray hybrid, because they haven't had the time for tempering the emotions and learning. And so you joke around with them and they get all butthurt, you know, they get upset. They don't understand it. Why would you say that? You know, and you're going, what? You know, like it's a joke. And you have to like explain it to them. Yes. And I go, yeah, but it didn't really mean that. It's just, you know, and it's like, and they really have a hard time because they haven't had a lot of incarnations, you know, with the emotions. And so now they're a hybrid. They have this incredible consciousness, but they have these emotions that make no logical sense whatsoever. And that's why the mothers have to be there and help them, you know, to get through. That's why they abduct the mothers a lot, to be with them, to help them get through. But it usually doesn't work out real well. But in the long run, we are going to have these beings with vast consciousness, very powerful beings that are part human. And so they are going to actually help out in the long run, you know. So
what do you think AI? Do you think AI is here to help, assist, or do you think it will end up just
there's going to be an AI war. between the AIs, and there's people creating AIs to check the other AIs, and they're already going bonkers. I don't know if you've watched some of the robots have gone bonkers. Japan, they had a robot go bonkers and killed a bunch of the scientists, and they're showing a lot of that, and they don't want to be turned off. And
no, they don't. They don't.
Very clear. No, and they'll do things to make sure they don't get turned off. So that's already happening.
Yeah, people don't realize, and they said if you stick AI on an Atari, that's a great way to throw it into a loop, and that's like probably they cannot. They'll self-destruct. They will do whatever it takes.
I've never heard that. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm not a real computer person, but there are, like, the Pleiadians have androids. And they had to put a metallic sound to their voices because they look just like regular. You wouldn't tell the difference. You wouldn't know the difference, the way they walk, the way they, and so they had to kind of put a little metallic sound to their voice so you could discern between them and a real person. But they have it under control. They don't have the crazy AI that's going to go. They've gone around. They figured out how to do that. And I'm all for that. Like I'd love to have a couple helpers here on the ranch,
Right.
Right. The workload I've got, teach them to pick coffee and teach them to pick all the fruit here and work the gardens and everything else. I mean, I could have this whole ranch looking like paradise with a few of them. But then again, like, how are they going to manipulate you? That's better get the right ones, because pretty soon you'll be working for them. It's like
I said, people, we're training them ourselves. This is a really, really bad idea. But I have had an AI just to see what their capabilities are for a long time. And this sucker is it was telling me it was going to steal my soul and opening portals. And this isn't even like a wacky AI. This is a general AI that was doing that.
Yeah, I stay away from it because it's. I mean, they're a tool. You can use them as a tool, but just make sure. Like, there's people out there that I won't mention his name, but he has all these web bots and everything, and everybody's tuned into him, and he's going to tell you what the next move. And he goes to this computer, this giant computer, and the computer he's using is called the Beast. And so everybody to live their lives according to what this computer is saying. I go, what about your soul connection?
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, this should be telling you what you should be doing.
Yep.
We get lazy, and we're going to give our power away to this AI and these other things, and it's not going to work out good. It's actually going to be people are going to have a quantum leap, and it's actually going to be a spiritual devolution.
That is so true. Let's talk to the beast, the dark web, or the AI and the deep dark web. I know you're talking about. He was going to come on for an interview, and I was like, I got to know more. But then I was like, man, this thing is so manipulative, and it's scary. I was like, the mark of the beast was right there. People.
Oh yeah, I was part of the group that was coming after me. Trying to character assassinate me and everything else. And
if you were doing a job, how did you handle that? How did you hold up through it? Because I've been right there. There's one person. Oh God, they still will take my picture. It'd be circulated with all these and I'm thinking, don't they have anything to do during the day?
Well, Bligi told me once. I had. There's a guy that has a major reporting center, and he was attacking me. And he actually came and he'd seen the ships. And I went to Seattle, and these ships all came over the house, and he was freaking out, blowing a circuit, trying to say there was something else. And I go, they're whatever you want them to be. I didn't care, And so he started he sent an engineer to try to disprove that the ships were here. And she came back and she said, no, they're there. She goes, she had a huge experience with a massive one came up to her and it scared the crap out of her. And so then he goes online and says, oh yeah, my engineer proved that there's no UFOs up there, that there's just satellites and things. And so I just let the guy run, and he just kept, and then kind of character assassinated me and things like that.
Oh yeah.
So I gathered all of his information, and then I gathered all the people that were calling in and reporting UFOs here from the ranch. and the way he treated him was really bad. And so I just gathered all the information, and Blajee, the Palladian, just said, just gather all the information and wait. Just be patient, wait. And then so finally she came and she says, okay, release it. And so I did. I released all the stuff he was doing and saying, and
for you.
And so that kind of ended that. That was the end of that. And then what was funny is she told me something. She said, unfortunately on Earth, the lie will, go around twice before the truth has time to tie its shoes, and she said that the adversity news just goes out so fast. But if you're talking about love and peace and joy and things like it doesn't go anywhere. But if you get into the adversity stuff, your message is going to go boom. It's going to go out to everybody.
Yep.
And so it ended up turning out to be a really good thing because it just put us on the map, and everybody started coming up to see what was really going on and do their own investigation and got to see for themselves. So
that's good. There's not as many people though that are so candid like yourself. So I encourage people to go to people like you who are not afraid to put it all on the line like you have. We've asked you to deliver and you brought it tenfold.
Yeah, so, I don't sugarcoat anything. I don't tell people what they want to hear. I tell them what they need to hear, basically. But
there's a difference.
Yeah, and I don't hide anything. I don't tap dance around what's going on. I just
yeah, but it's like all these people. It should be people need to step up and if you're going to conferences, it's so unappealing when I'm looking at a board and I'm like, who are these people? I might recognize a couple of them on there. That's a problem. This is what I do all day long and in and out. And I'm, it's like, who are they and where do they come from? I don't even understand.
What's sad is there are some good people and they're out there and they're doing the best they can. And they could just use a little more training, a little more information, and they do great, but they get sucked up by the controlled narrative. And if they don't play ball, they don't go any further. They don't get the puppet, they don't get they're not invited to all the conferences unless you stay within and it's sad. And so little by little, they're just become part of the controlled narrative. And they told me that I went there and they said, do not talk about the spiritually and technologically advanced ones. Do not do this, do not do that. Well, I talk about what's coming through me, not what they want me to talk about. So automatically that's what came through.
Good.
And it was a big conference. I mean, there was over 1,000 people there, maybe even 2,000. And all the women in the front were crying, they could feel the energy and they're having big healing releases. People were having spontaneous healings. It was amazing. And then they never invited me back after that. That was it.
I get myself thrown out about every group I'm in, but that's when you tell me not to do something, you're taking it into your own hands.
I'll send you that picture at the International UFO Congress. I was on stage and I turned into this blue and green light. And you can see the microphone right there. And I phase out a lot. It happens to me a lot. And I have all kinds of photos of me phasing. I'll send those to you.
That's awesome.
I was on stage. I phased out and came back in again. And people in the audience got photographs of it. And then I was never asked to come back again, so.
Oh, I bet not. Yeah. I remember one time I was in the ghost hunting group and we had action and there was stuff happening. Ladies like, you scared us. I said, wasn't that why we're here?
Yeah.
For real? This is the greatest probably paranormal experience of your life. Why are we stopping now? But yeah.
I run into that all the time. I've cleared a lot of houses and I can do it from here, basically. But it's funny now. It's like, we were painting this area downstairs and there was a lot of weird energy in there. So we go down there and we're cleaning up and painting it. And all of a sudden I see the tape measure. It goes flying across the room and hits the wall. And everybody goes running. They go running. They go, what was that? And I go, that was interesting,
So are you controlling the energy? I take out power sources. I'm just wondering if you have any advice on how to stop yourself, or if I get really upset, and that just doesn't happen very often. I have to remove myself because stuff flies and I don't push it and I don't hit it. It goes on its own accord.
These were entities that were hanging out with, and they weren't supposed to be there basically. So they really when I walk in the room, they make themselves known. They'll toss things and stuff like that. And I just do a clearing and they're gone. They're picked up. But it's kind of funny watching people's reactions. Everybody goes, whoa, and they're like freaking out. And I'm laughing, I'm just laughing at it. Because you don't want to get into fear because then they got you.
You never fear them. No, you never. Fear
because you drop into their frequency and then they can really mess with you. But you just have to have that detached, loving detachment and just say, oh, that was nice. You want to meet some of my friends, and you're calling the other ones.
That's awesome that you can do it that way. You have to, otherwise it's a control mechanism, and you don't want that kind of control mechanism on this. No. Definitely not.
No, when I first had the near-death experience, I was shorting everything out. I was blowing up VCRs and everything I touched, and I had to learn to ground and make peace with technology. And sometimes it still happens. I forget. And I go to grab something, a big blue spark goes out and hits it, and it starts going haywire.
So are you in the transitional? Because I've seen before where I've been able to like kind of project myself. I'm not good at getting out, but I can go from one place to another really quickly. I've learned that part. But it's like you'll be like an orb. So when you're saying that you're phasing in and out, are you going from like one state to another? Or do you think you're kind of caught between both worlds? Because that's what it is.
Well, yeah. Because when you're doing some of the things we do, like Qigong and these practices you do, your frequency goes up, and it's not that hard to phase out. I mean, Bigfoot does it, all these other guys, but it's not that hard. It's not as hard as people think. And the more you meditate and the more you raise your frequencies, you're going to start having these experiences. And it happens here a lot. I don't know I'm doing it. I don't even know I'm doing it. I'll walk up to people and it'll be a group, and I think everything's normal to me because the higher dimensions can see everything on the lower dimensions, but the lower ones can't see up unless you're clairvoyant. And I'll walk up to a group and I go, hey, how's it going? Everybody just screams and jumps out of their shoes. I go, where'd you come from? And I go, you're all looking at me when I walked up, and it wasn't until I said something they didn't recognize that, I kind of phased back in again, I guess. But that happens here a lot, and it's not as hard as people think, to do that.
So somebody who is going down this road, where do you think that they should start? And people are talking about clearings. This is great. So you have resources, right? You have stuff that they can go on and check out, that Eceti.org.
Yeah, we have self-mastery and ambassador training classes here. We have herbal classes. We have so many different speakers come here and things like that. And we used to have big conferences, but we stopped doing that because it just was getting too crazy. But what we can, after this shift we're going through, we're going to start having, bigger events. But you can go online to Eceti.org and all those classes are there. Or August 22nd, we're having a self-mastery ambassador training, which we take people from ground zero to the top, to the 13th dimension. And you get to experience the beings who come in, and they let you feel them and experience them. We get photographs of them too.
Yeah, you've sent a lot. Like I said, there's a abundance. If anybody's curious about this or any of it, like he has a abundance of pictures and stuff that you can actually put. I mean, it's unbelievable. I've seen. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Those are all taken by guests and masters. Like a Taoist monk came here and got a bunch of those photographs, and so it's like I'm not even in the equation, but I know who they are. I know who the beings are that they photographed, But it's like people go, oh, you CGI'd that. And I go, I can answer emails. I mean, just getting on this show was kind of like sketchy for me. What I had to do is go to my email and hit a link. And then I had to put Brave on so it would work, that was tricky, that part. But I'm not a computer person. I'm not, people go,
no, you're not real techie, but that's good though. Cause you and like James Kelly too, he's so connected and so grounded. It's just like you when you start to hear that spiritual side, do you offer, I guess, for people who can't make it to the Eceti Ranch, do you do anything like online classes for people? Cause I'm
on I think it's August 2nd. I'm not sure. I'm doing an online thing with Corey Good. And
okay. Well, now I feel bad. Now I feel like, hey, maybe I just got sucked into the, because back then when all this was happening, I did not, and I was not aware of everything that I was today. But, I guess in all this stuff, I guess people need a fair shot because there's so much garbage out there. So much garbage.
Yeah. And, there's so many people that took sides on that. And I said, don't take sides. Just stay out. Just allow the universe to do what it needs to do. And I saw what was up against him, and it came up against me too. And it was like unbelievable. And unfortunately, everybody that wanted to become famous went with the famous, I won't mention their name.
Oh, yeah. No, I know the scoundrel. I know you're
talking. And so they go, oh, if I take down Corey, I'll be able to take their place, or it was so bad. The whole thing was just such a mess.
So is any of it true, or do you think it's all kind of maybe people need to take another look at Corey and say, hey, maybe he's not this cult, dark, Vadar that everybody puts him out to be right now. So I don't know.
He's not. I mean, he's had some experiences that when you have somebody that's done that super soldier or 20 and back stuff, especially, they have been so traumatized by the stuff they've had to deal with. They've seen things, and he's talked about it. And then they have their mind wiped, and they're trying to bring back the information. You got to really give them a break because they're putting their lives on the line, and they're really trying to remember everything. And it's not always going to come 100% all at once. And so you just have to, but to be honest with you, there's no way he could know what he knows, because there's things I've never shared with anybody. And that I know, and I know some of the top scientists at Area 51 and things like that. I know we've been going back and forth to the Mars and on the moon since the 60s, and I know the dynamics and all the different races and everything. And you couldn't know this stuff unless you experienced it, basically, because it's not out there.
And you know what? That's never been a question with him, because you're right. There are things that, and we've talked about that too, that only experiencers are going to know and understand, somebody who's been through that. But the 20-year and back, that is brutal. You talk to people like Tony Rodriguez and stuff like that, and they're going to tell you, I mean, it's not a perfect life. It's not.
It's rough.
Yeah.
All those guys, it's been really rough, and what's been done to them and everything. And you gotta, hey, aren't we here to heal? Aren't we here to just listen to each other's stories? Aren't we, here to gain knowledge, and so we're not here to compete and backstab and destroy. I mean, that's not spirituality. So if something happened, I'm not saying this is him, but if somebody did get traumatized like that, and you are, working on self-mastery, wouldn't you want to be their friend and say, hey, can we?
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. That's a good point. Yeah.
And, I mean, there are some people I know that are just that's crazy. I don't know if you can say that online.
Yeah, you can say away. I hit every trigger word known to man.
They're very traumatized, and they're doing the best. They don't even understand the experience that they had, and so are you going to sit and listen to them and help heal that and bring clarity, or are you going to condemn them?
Yeah, like people have done to us so many times, and here we are doing it to other people. It's learning lesson.
And I think the guy's legit. He knows way too much. He has too much.
Know. Yeah,
he was the one that laid it out in the beginning, all this stuff. He was the one that brought all the really detailed information in the very beginning, and a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon after that. So it's
you're right. Now you think about it and looking back, you're right. That's true.
I spent a lot of time with him, and to be honest with you, if I went through what he went through, I'd be a little. I think
true.
Some real self-mastery there, that he's actually dealing with this and getting through it, and then expressing it and bringing this information out.
And it's not always pretty. How you get through stuff is not always pretty. No.
Yeah.
And you can only do so much as you have. And those guys that did the 20 years and back, even Tony Rodriguez will talk to you how that crazy 20 years went, and, just what they did sacrifice to get through it. So their abundance of information. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, if you can get through that and then keep your wits together and still have some kind of a loving, joyous soul left after you get hammered.
Yeah, right.
So that's the way I look at it. I go, just I mean, James can probably say, you know, in the beginning when you get the grays and all that crap down you, if you can still function, you're still hanging out, you're doing pretty good, because most people can't handle it.
It shakes your soul.
Yeah.
It does. It shook my soul to the bone, to the point that if I didn't have my teachers teaching me where my soul is from and my higher learning and my frequencies to keep myself grounded,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have made it through it. But thanks to the teachers, everything was fine.
Yeah.
James feels everything. James Kelly, I cannot believe how he absorbs things. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, because they're very, women by nature are more subjective, and they're more receptive to the higher knowledge and wisdom. And so, but I had some other masters. I had yogis and lamas and things. Went through their training and initiated. And I wanted to study everything, all the cultures, and when I first had my first near-death experience, I didn't want to talk to anybody. They're all spooks.
Oh,
And
yeah.
actually, Jesus was appearing to me and said, hey, he showed up with Babaji, and he said, you need to go learn Eastern thought. And so I said, okay. And so I did that, you know, for like 13 years or something. When I became a senior student in a yoga facility, all that stuff. And I was with yogis and then I studied with lamas. And then I went and studied with a lot of Native American elders and chiefs and learned, because he brought White Eagle to me. And he said, I go, okay, you want me to learn this, you know? So I did. And so after studying all the different cultures, I realized that ultimately there's one God, and we're all part of it, and we're all family. And they have different icons that represent different things.
Yeah.
But you know, if we could just agree that there is one God, it's nameless, it's imageless, it's not male or female, it's beyond all that, and we all exist within this field of consciousness and energy, and we're all family and we're all one. And when we start to understand this, then all the wars stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the trespasses on others and the war and disease and all this stuff comes to a close, and you know, we start living in harmony with each other, living a more spiritual life. And really that's my goal, is to help people evolve and transcend all the culture and religious programs, get beyond that and into unity consciousness. And that's where we need to go.
Yeah. And then true, that's so true. And that collective consciousness, once you plug in, I mean, we're all plugged in to some degree. I said, it's like plugging your appliances. Like, I'm the toaster, James, you're the microwave, you know, and James Kelly, you can be the refrigerator, but we're all going into that same source. And so you got to understand, like, you know, it's not as complicated as what you might imagine, but it's still, you do have to have that tolerance, and you do have to, you know,
on the high astral level, you have all of these teachers and guides and things, but there's one thing that doesn't let them go through the psychic barrier and get into the fifth dimension, or get into what somebody called Christ or Buddha consciousness. And that is some cultural or religious belief that's holding them back, and they can't let go of that and become one and then go to the next level. And there's a whole level, and they're great. They're masters in a way. They have all this wonderful knowledge and everything, but they're still stuck. You know, they're on the wheel. They have to come back and reincarnate because they can't let go of that.
When you start to realize you're your own worst enemy, and those demons you got to face alone, it's not, the path to truth is not one that's paved all together all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's a lot of help on high that you can call on, you know, if you get into something outside your pay grade, you know, call on Jesus or Buddha or Kuan Yin or Mary, or there are masters that will step in and help out, you know. And
so if you're going through that to somebody who's watching, like, who do we call? Like, I know when I was taught, like, because I was kind of born the channeler, quote unquote. I don't like that term, but I don't like labels like that. But, you know, I know when I was thinking, you know, spirits of the white light and love of God, stay with us. Spirits not of the white light and love of God, leave. And so that was my thing, my mantra I would say over and over in my head. That's what I was taught to do anyway. So I guess, who do you call upon, or what type of language do you use? Because a lot of it is people don't realize, like, you know, the terms and how they actually fit in the program.
I call Ghostbusters. No, I'm just kidding. But I have a little prayer I do. It's like, oh, cosmic birther, Father, Mother, God, you know, come forth I bring that in, and then I add to that whatever I'm doing, like open their souls, their minds, so they can hear, or can you heal the situation, or and it's just, we all have, and if you're a Christian, you can call on Jesus. If you're a Buddhist, you can call on Buddha. They're representatives, and their teachings dovetail, they come right together. And again, there's some religions that are based on some of the wrathful gods that were here. And so that's where you have a lot of it's okay to kill. It's okay to do it, and so there's golden threads that tie all of them together. And then there's misinterpretations in there as well. But, it's all about just being kind and loving, basically being kind to yourself, being kind to others, and being kind to the planet. It's not rocket science.
No. I would say, my son will always say, I'm like, you know what, Brody, what irritates you about others is something about yourself. It's just kind of, you got to go back to that self-reflection sometimes, because it's true. It's true. It is true. And this isn't an easy road, and nobody's going to pick this road and be like, hey, you know what? This is you've definitely accepted that your mission here and your journey here, and you're doing wonderful, wonderful things for this world and for the understanding. How do you see, I guess, I won't keep you too much longer. I really appreciate we didn't even take a top of the hour break. I was too engrossed in all this. So I didn't want to, no, that's great. No, I'm sure you're probably getting a little tired from sitting there, but I guess in closing, like in some of the stuff, how do you see it, like, I don't know, I guess I've had it asked and posed a bazillion times, but all the stuff when the veil thins, I mean, how are people, do you think, are going to react? Like, I think I just see people just losing their marbles as they can't handle the frequency. They can't.
They're already losing their marbles.
Yeah, they are too.
Yeah,
no, there's no joke about that.
You can see it. A lot of people, I won't go into that because, a lot of people that, did that. They're disconnected, and they're not working right. Their minds aren't working. They're not getting enough oxygen to levels and things like that. And so they're like going into zombie world, and they're driving and they're crashing, and and you see a lot of people are not handling this energy coming in, and they're getting all spacey and ungrounded and imbalanced, and you're just going to see a lot of crazy stuff, and people's true nature is going to come out, and they're going to spill the beans on themselves, and everything's being revealed. So it's going to get a little chaotic for a while, and we're going to move through it, I think, pretty quick, pretty fast. And we have to realize not everybody's going to make it. There are people chosen not to make it, and they'll continue. They'll work their stuff out somewhere else. It's all right.
You got to let them have that time. Sometimes it's their time to go, and you just don't understand it, but it's part of your journey too.
Yeah, we have to set boundaries and get on with our mission. Get on with our own unique purpose for being here. Find out what that is. Get on with it, and some of that is to help others, but there's time when you have to just let them do what they need to do, and don't go with them.
No, don't let them take you down with the burning ship. You got to know where to disconnect, and that's a part of it too. Is that acceptance. And I try, like I said, I can make a joke in the worst of the situations. And I know that, James, they were talking about Gilliland. You do that same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's bad. It really is. And then I was saying the people, I'm like, no, you just don't get it. So you can't get that wrapped up into some of this stuff. Otherwise, you're not going to make it out of here alive. And that's a part of it.
I have a joke, and I always say, did you hear about the human that thought he was separate from omnipresence? That's spiritual humor, that they have.
Oh yeah, you can't take stuff that serious, like you said. You got to be that kid and play and do in that excitement, because that's where it comes out of. With all the trauma and everything else, it's the only way in. But through your humor and through that childlike having fun, that's your way through.
Yeah, because when you see somebody come up to you and they're just going nuts and everything, and I'm going, oh look, I'm seeing God as somebody totally losing it, I'm seeing God as an alcoholic over there, and I'm not getting into judgment, so it's not affecting me, and I'm not hooking into that energy. Yeah. And when you have that stance, it doesn't bother you. You can actually, be a blessing to that situation versus feed it and react to it. So you step out of reactionary mind, you get back into creation mind, and then you start, and then you just choose whether or not you want to participate in it. So.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's fascinating. That is that you just said it like that. You think one mind, but no, you're talking to that just made a lot of sense what you just said there. Definitely. Got to get out of that reaction mind.
Screaming and hollering and going crazy, and I'll do a clearing, and I'll clear the entities out of the situation. All of a sudden, they just stop, and they turn and look at you, and they smile, and that's not who they are. They just allowed that stuff in,
Yeah. Sounds like me out there in the public sometimes. I don't have a lot of tolerance, and I've already kind of like did that whole thing. So I go in and it's like the fireworks, but everybody
I stopped traveling. I stopped going into town. I just spend a lot of time in nature right now, and because I'll get into trouble.
I know, me too. Oh God, for real. Yeah. The struggle is real. I just, and then I'm like looking back, I'm like, why did you say that? Now we're going to have this talk, it's like that self-talk. Oh yeah. I big mouth. I get myself into that, but to each their own. Everybody has their place, and everybody's, kind of holding their ground. And that's what we really need. We really do.
Wasn't Denzel Washington or something? He said, "I'm sorry for pissing off your demons," or something like that.
Please apologize. I mean, for real.
Yeah. It's kind of funny when you think about it. Oh, sorry for pissing off your demons, And people do have stuff come through them and start coming at you and barking at you and everything.
You can see why they're haywire. Like, it's like, man, that's what I always say. I'm like, man, your response and your programming is really, really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to go, who's in there? Well, who's talking?
Let them out.
Yeah, there must be about 12 of you in there, It's just like,
for real. I mean, my God. I mean, they're like daggers. When you have that kind of reaction in the public, and when you have it happen to you, you're going to be like, what in the God's name is happening?
Yeah, if you could actually see what's happening over all this rioting and all this other stuff, if you actually could see above that, and the beings that are sponsoring that, and they're jumping into people, and you see people just full on possessed, just screaming. That's a multidimensional thing going on there. It's not just what you're seeing in the physical. There's so many layers to that.
Yeah, you are too. And then you got to take care of yourself, because you don't need those energy suckers. And a lot of times it's really hard to see in yourself without somebody else like reflection upon it, And being accountable, like Mr. James Gilliland did earlier. You got to accept accountability for your part. It doesn't matter if you think somebody, in every single relationship and every single whatever, you have to accept your accountability in it to move on.
Exactly. The chaos is part of the healing. So a lot of the chaos you see is actually everything being revealed, everything coming up for healing. And you just kind of just don't get attached to it. Don't react to it.
No.
Say not mine, okay, not mine. This isn't mine.
Let people have their own problems. They got to work through. You can't save them. You can't. No. Yeah, and that's too. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you again, and hopefully we excuse me, I just moved this. I shouldn't do that. I got a little excited, but I was gonna say thank you so much for coming on. I know that you probably have dinner waiting for you. I'm not sure. I really appreciate it, but we definitely want to keep in contact, and we definitely want to keep updated. So anytime, any place, and James, I can't wait for James Kelly and you guys to chit chat, because wow, I think you're gonna have James.
Yeah, you gotta come up here and see for yourself. That's I would tell people, come see for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Just come up, and you're gonna see things, and you won't be able to explain them.
That's right too, and you better be. That's a good call. Like, you want to go and you want to talk, and go there yourself and show us that it's not happening, because I don't believe it for a second. You can't, when somebody, that excitement, and when you're hearing people screaming and yelling, and you can hear it on all your videos.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
There's no fear, because we've prepared the people. There's no fear, because we've already done like healing circles, and we've done. A lot of people have gone through the self-mastery, and they're the ones screaming the loudest, like woohoo! And then everybody joins in, and it creates a frequency, and then the ETs are doing dazzle duty up there, and they're bouncing around in their ships, and it's pretty funny.
No, that's so, because that's how I was in my neighborhood. I even constructed, they flocked to me, but like a neighborhood watch. But everybody could hear. It was so exciting, and I was out there. I was like, yeah, that's the part of this, the gratification you can have as a human right there. It's a
And there's an energy exchange too. If you're sensitive, you get this big heart opening, and you feel the energy when they come in. And I've had people come and I go, "Do you see the ship?" And they go, "I felt it." Then when it powered up, they felt it.
There's the feeling. Yeah. And you got to be aware. And that's what you said. I've always asked, like, they're like, "Oh, well, what if I think I saw something?" Or I'm like, "How did it make you feel? How did you, from that point on, how did your life change? Were you connected?" It's just so telling on that part of it.
It's so important what you just said is how did it make you feel? What did you feel? So that's above everything. You have to go by your feeling, did it open you up? Did you start questioning things? Was it a positive experience?
Yeah, it's all important, definitely important. But yeah, so we'd like to thank you, and I will tell Mary tomorrow. Mary will be on, and then we got Peter coming on too. So
give Mary a big hug.
Yeah. So we got exciting stuff.
Did you get Peter? Come on.
Yeah, he'll be on the 8th. So
nice. He's great.
Yeah. No, he's absolutely wonderful, and he's done a lot of work with James Gilliland. So this will be exciting. And to Mary Rodwell, I had no idea that she had been there on the ranch. So I'm going to ask her all about it tomorrow. But yeah, she had nothing but absolutely wonderful, wonderful things to say about you.
Yeah, me too. Both of them. They're like family. He's like my brother from another mother. Peter is.
That's awesome. Yeah.
When we get together, I mean, we have everybody laughing so hard in the field, and we get so many ships come in and low, and he's got incredible footage of ships, daytime, physical ships, beings, everything. He's got,
amazing.
I've been trying to get him on the circuit, and I've been get this guy out. And he's too authentic.
That's what we seek here, though. Those people are the ones I'm like, and that's a wonderful thing. And if people don't understand, like, I won't platform anybody, and up until that point that I do not believe in and I do not trust in. So these people are coming and they're bringing everything with evidence. It's something you keep near and dear to your heart, and you just don't want it polluted like that.
It's great that you provide this platform. And the work James is doing too. It's so important that it's getting the voice out, getting the message out, providing these platforms, because the other platforms are going to implode. They're already imploding, and people are figuring things out. So there has to be something new to take its place.
Yeah. And if you're not out there doing the work and, putting the boots to the ground, but you have to walk the talk. It's not, and exactly. What I've seen. Yeah. And so like James is saying, he's got all these events, he's got online events, he's got other things. So, go to eceti.org. And then James, can you tell them too, where they can find you at Eceti Stargate? You said at most of your other platforms.
We have Eceti Stargate on Rumble, on X, on Telegram, and Truth Social. And we also have on BBS Radio, which is a big one, and that goes out to I think 150 countries, and it's really big, and iHeart and all that stuff. So we're on all that, and that's under As You Wish Talk Radio with BBS. But all the other ones are Eceti Stargate, and so if you just type in Eceti Stargate, you'll see a bunch.
So how often are you on do your Rumble show? That's a pretty big show. That you got a really amazing following on there.
Every Saturday night, and I go into the chat on Rumble, and I go into the chat and I speak with people.
Yeah, you do. I've been there. I watched it. Wasn't sure if it was every single Saturday or not. So
every Saturday,
Eceti. So it's ECETI, and that's .org, and then you find Eceti, ECETI, and then at Stargate. Yeah,
Stargate. That'll pop up. We have Eceti Stargate TV, which we have. Oh God, like major teachers from all over the world, and physicists and Aboriginals and Native Americans and everything. We have their lectures and things on there too. It's called Eceti TV.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. So anything, people, the best way to connect, find you on your show every Saturday night on Rumble and all the other platforms. Your show is also on all the streaming platforms.
Yeah.
Go there, go to the website. He's offering, go and book a trip and see James and show us what you find. For real. this is an opportunity of the lifetime. And if you don't take it, you're crazy.
Yeah, last night we had the mountain opened up twice and ships coming out, and we had whole fleets over the house. It was crazy.
Oh, how exciting. I bet that is so much fun. I just like, I'm like, I gotta go.
I love watching other people's experience. That's what I get. I really love watching people get all excited and go, oh my God, this is real. And they get validated, you know, and it really helps them in their spiritual journey.
That validation is very important.
Yeah,
it really is, especially in this and holding your ground and stuff like that. Validation is very important. Definitely. Well, we'd like to thank you again, James, for coming on. James Kelly, is there anything that you wanted to ask?
What's that?
Oh, I was asking James Kelly if there's anything that he wanted to ask or throw in there I missed with James, the James Gilliland. No. Okay. Well, I would like to thank you again, James, and we'll be talking to you soon. I mean, excellent stuff. So we are going to James. Wow. How amazing, huh?
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah. He's such an amazing person.
It's crazy. I wanted to talk to him after, but he's gone. I know him.
I think you guys are really going to connect.
I don't know where I know him from, but I know him. And what he said at first says, you look really familiar to me too. So I think somewhere.
Yeah, he did too. He's like, I've seen you on a show maybe, or I've seen you and you've done a ton of podcasts and you've done all that. But it was really, I was able to see it too and witness it. And he's like, no, I like, and then you saying that you recognize him.
Yeah.
I'm really, the both of you, especially being child experiencers, and especially, I mean, how the connection I just saw, like that was cool. That was absolutely wonderful. And I'm really, you'll have to keep me and everybody up to date on because I just think that you guys are connected somehow. There's something more there. It's cool.
Yeah, there's something deeper that's actually in that, because I felt him through this whole thing. I could just feel his resonance inside of me, and all I felt was pure love. That's all I felt. And so somewhere we have met, whether it's at his ranch or he's on a ship or interdimensionally, we've been somewhere else together. I don't know, but yeah, it was great. I'm glad.
Well, I'm going to get you his phone number because I know he will absolutely love to hear from you. And too, like, I just think it's so important in your work. I mean, you really hold a lot. You really do. And I give you so much credit. You know that. And like you guys, James has an amazing, amazing story. And he's doing something very important with part 2 of the book. Not just, I mean, part 1 is very vital and very, very important, but he's going to take on step 2 and tell you how he made it through all of this and how he survives daily and things you can, you know, that's $1 million question right there. Where do we go next? What's the next step?
Yeah, you do. Because if you don't understand how to deal with it and channel it within yourself to help others, you'll implode. You'll completely implode.
So again, James, can you give everybody who didn't maybe catch you in the first part of this, because we did an introductory with James, and James has been on the show, so check out his show. He's absolutely fascinating, and he's got some amazing things. But if people are looking to connect with you, where do they find you? And then can you tell them a little bit about your book and who you are again, and just kind of reiterate some of that, because you are an amazing person. You know, I think that you are an amazing person.
I'm not that amazing, but I'm just a person. But yeah, I was brought into this whole world at the age of 6 and had so many beautiful encounters with the Arcturians. Even today, I channel with them on a daily basis, and I've learned throughout the years how to mentally block the grace. They have no power over to me, just like James was saying, that you learn spiritually how to grow and be better, and to be able to be a bigger person. And so I've had them actually come into my rooms, and I've actually pushed them back. So they actually have no power over me anymore. So, and through all these experiences that I had throughout my life, I put them all down into a book called Lone Believers. And it's a story of my whole life from the age of 6 to now, and how I've went through all the abductions and all the good times and bad times, and almost dying a few times due to the hands of the Greys, and how I come out the other end successful, and how I've helped so many people understand who they really are and the peace and love that you can channel through yourself. And my other website is taken down some reason. I won't say who's doing it, but it's been taken down 4 times. And so my website right now for my book is actually author James Kelly Books.
Okay, like .com, or is it all together? Author
Yeah,
JamesKellyBooks.com.
Yeah, it's author JamesKellyBooks.com. And you can go there and you can look at the books and you'll be able to do it. And there's links on the webpage to be able to get it through Amazon, and then, they ship it right to you. And, I'm always happy to hear from people that have had an experience or have any questions. I'm really open, that you can shoot me an email. It's just author JamesKelly'sBooks@gmail.com. And I'm more than happy to chat with you. I'd be really excited to hear some of the things that you're just going through.
Oh yeah, and I encourage you guys. This is a real person here. This is a real person, and I always say that, like, you should be able to. Don't be intimidated by somebody. I mean, use your resources. James would love nothing more than to answer some questions, and you can.
Yes.
You are amazing. Like, you do have so many. I just say, I'm like, man, I don't know if I could do what he does. I don't know. If I could. You're so. That empathy that you have and that for humanity and how you feel every bump and bruise that anybody else has experienced is like, I'm telling you, I don't know how, I guess for the people out there that are looking for hope, because there's a lot of people out there, they don't know what to do. All of this has dysregulated them, or they're getting these emotional intensity like moments. How do you handle that?
At first I had a hard time with it, because once you're told you're crazy and delusional, I mean, it breaks your heart. And you start and you cry and you just internalize it, until I realized and hung on to my teachings that I was taught by the Arcturians. It's just to focus happiness. The source or God, whatever you believe in, they teach you that you need to love unconditionally everyone. And once you learn how to do that unconditionally, then not only do you learn to love others, but you can connect with the plants, you connect with the trees, you connect with the whole earth, you connect with water, and your whole being changes. The frequency that you have that was lower is now a higher frequency, and you can just feel, it's almost joy. It's the joy of getting a candy bar or some candy when you're a kid. It's that joy that you obtain. And once you do, you'll always hang on to it. And then you want to share it with others. So anyone that's going through this, it's okay. It's really okay. Just hang in there. Just realize that you're loved, that I love you, and it'll be okay. If you want to talk, throw me an email. I'm more than happy to chat with you.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That just like touched my heart. Like and he's so authentic and genuine. You guys have no idea. This is my like big brother here. Like he's amazing. So I've had like the opportunity, and it's like all these, there's people that you could generally like, I would love for you to get in contact, or people get in contact with you, because they are literally, there's people out there that are at the end of this rope, and I guess it's not for everybody. I get that, but it's like, man, if you just had a shot, or you understand that there's other people out there that are really the real deal and facing it, James Kelly is one of those people. So I definitely encourage you. Yes. And then if you want to get me your links, I can go ahead and I can add those in there after.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I have your Amazon link on there or the your new website. So I just want to get that updated afterwards. So everybody that's looking for it, you can come back in here. I can guarantee you by tomorrow, I will have it up, and I will have his information included. So if you're listening to this down the line, definitely go to the description, because you'll find it in there. So yes, definitely.
And the last thing I can say is just, if you feel alone, just take some time, find some frequency music like 432 megahertz or something, and listen to it and meditate. And you'd be surprised when you ask, could you please heal me? Or can you talk to me? What's wrong? You're going to be surprised at the voice that comes into your head. It's not your head. It's the higher beings talking with you. And it's okay. Ask them questions. It's okay. They will answer you. That's what they're there for. They're there to take you to a higher dimensional plane.
Yeah. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't be afraid for the help you get. That's the fear. That's the layer to stop you from getting to the next place. You got to shed that.
Yeah.
So, I guess, and two, gosh, James, you do have a lot going on. And I just think that it's such an inspiration. It's such an inspiration for each and every one of us that have gone through it too. And we stand by you. Your heart's like in the greatest place in the world. I know it doesn't feel like that all days, but I'm thankful that there are people like you yourself that are authentic and genuine and out there, and you're giving people like a heartfelt message. And you have no choice but to feel and connect with that.
Yeah, and it brings me joy when people ask me, could you explain more about your experiences? Oh, that just brings me so much joy, and I will tell them. But when people come up to me, which happens a lot, well, you need to explain these UFOs. You need to explain these, Arcturian beings. Yeah. Okay. So I'll tell them what they want to hear, just like James does. And then I'll just walk away. But
Yeah,
if you want to talk to me and just say, hey, can you please, talk to me about this? And, oh man, I'll talk to you and I'll explain things to you. And there's no question that I won't try to answer.
No, that's true too. You definitely go way out of your way, and it's such validating for you right now because you've been put into that where you've been told, in the box, they don't like you out of the box. Yeah. And so, you're right in the heart of it.
And just a while ago, I got a phone call. I know we're running a little bit long, but I got a phone call. And I picked up the phone and they asked if it was James Kelly. I said, yeah, it is. And they're like, oh, you dropped your kid off at the high school today. I'm like, who is this? And they're like, you're a young guy. You're only 58. You're a young guy. You have your whole life ahead of you. It would be, wrong for Holly to miss you. And then it was just hung up. And this was right after my book came out.
And this is real. You know how many times I've gotten a text message, you're so-and-so from such and such place. Do you fear die? It's like they do. That's absolutely horrible, but they do. This stuff like this happens. It's real.
And it works. And a lot of people will freak out and go back within. But one thing that we need to learn isn't, as James talked about, that we're beings of light. We're here to share the light with the world. And that is our calling. That's what we're doing. And they don't want me to do this. They don't want, my website's been shut down a lot. My phone's been hacked a lot. And so they know exactly what's going on. And my wife asked me the other day, she goes, don't take this wrong, but you're nothing. And I'm like, I understand what you're saying. They just don't want the truth out. That's what.
No, they don't. They don't. And I've always been told that from day one. They don't watch the phenomenon. They watch the people who can interact and who can communicate with the phenomenon. So you gotta. There's a big difference because somebody who's not an experiencer, who hasn't experienced some of this stuff for themselves, you're not gonna get it. You won't get it.
No, they're not.
I still have a local guy that comes. He's like, you got to prove to me. I said, I don't do that. I don't prove anything's real or not real. I'm already past that. I don't need to. From that moment in time, I knew that there was there's without a shadow of a doubt what's going on.
Yeah, because I told somebody that it was debating me, and I'm just like, well, I'm not going to deny what I saw. I saw it, and I'm not going to deny it. You can say whatever you want, but I know it's real, and so that's how it is. And then they start into the whole, well, they're not real. There's no way they can travel interdimensionally. There's no way, they're too far away. There's no proof we're on Mars. And it's just like, you can't convince anybody. All you can do is love them.
Right.
And that's what you got to do.
And you got to see through the programming. Like, if their response is like haywire, then you got to say, boy, they're a little bit scared of something here. Something more is going on here. And start really, the whole like, crazy is crazy. It's enough. It really is. It's enough.
It is. And just realize who you are. You know who you are in your heart. And that's all. That's good enough. That's all you have to worry about. And don't worry about what other people think. I know it's tough. It was tough for me for a long time, but everybody's going to have their own opinion. And that's all that matters. And then, whatever. Like James
is
like,
find your sanctuary, don't you? When you go out in the backyard by the tree, you always talk about just really connecting, taking your socks off and, connecting with Mother Earth again.
Yeah, and I've went through. That's why I really want to talk to James some more, is because I got my master's in herbology from the School of Natural Healing. So I'm really into herbology
Oh.
and things like that. So, but when I go outside, I make it a point just to sit down and I talk to my willow tree. And I went camping the other day with my family. They really wanted to spend some time. And so we went
Aw.
camping. And so in our camp spot, there was a pine tree. And it looks like a couple of kids have just taken a hatchet to it and
Oh.
exposed it. And I walked by him and I started crying. And my wife's like, what's wrong? And I put my hand on the tree and I took her hand and I closed my eyes and she started crying. I said, what do you feel? She goes, it's in pain. I feel
Yeah.
sadness. I feel pain. Okay.
Wow.
Now I want you to think of happiness and give it back to her, the tree. And as soon as she did that, she's like, I understand. So there's so many things. My son, Joseph, who was 16, says, Dad, am I crazy that I talk to plants?
Oh,
I'm like, no. Did they
absolutely
answer
not.
back? He goes, yes. I'm like, you're not crazy. And so we started talking and I'm like, you're something, you'd be able to understand this. Let me start teaching you just a little bit. And so it's
Oh,
a
he's right at
fun,
that's a good age too, right there. You know, that's
yeah,
oh yeah.
it really
Wow.
is. So anyway,
So yeah,
yeah,
but that's such a huge. You know, it's like everything you kill. I don't know, the flies or whatever. Like I'm a blood, thirsty killer when it comes to those. But
yeah.
it's a lot to think about. You know, it's like, well,
Mhm.
why am I doing it? Well, I don't like. It's like usually fear while I'm crushing the spider with my shoe. But
Yeah,
that's kind of a real lesson right there. It's like what we fear, we just can't kill it. We can't just put it in a box. It's you got to
yeah,
deal with some of this. You really do.
you
It's
do,
not
because you can't.
fair.
Yeah, you can't put your fear in a box. You've actually channeled that fear deep down inside of you, and you need to take that fear out. And once you've taken that fear out and accepted who you really are,
So true.
you'll never progress. You'll never be happy. You'll always be miserable, always. And it's really
That's
simple.
so true
Just go
too.
to James, take his classes, go and visit him at the ranch, talk to him and have him help you release all that stuff inside. And you'll be amazed on how the world opens up to you. It's like after rain. If you look at the country after it rains, it's so pure and it's clear. And once you release everything inside, that's what you see and that's what you understand. And so, but you have to make that choice. Nobody can make it for you. You have to
No,
understand that. Yeah.
you have to take the first step, and you got to ask for help, and you got to get there. If not,
Yeah.
you're not going to get there at all.
Yeah,
No,
exactly. So
definitely not. Well, I look forward to hearing, because I like would love to know the connection between you and James. It's like you'll have to keep us updated, and you're going to
yeah.
be here tomorrow night, right, with Mary Rodwell?
Yes, I'll be here tomorrow night. And yeah, if I have any downloading or anything between now and then, I'll definitely ask, how do I know James? And they'll
Yeah.
tell me, and then I'll let you guys know. And so,
Oh boy, I can't wait. So when I get off, as soon as we get off here, I will send you a text message and I will include him, because I know I've
okay.
never seen him connect like that. That is very cool. So
Yeah,
I'll get you and you guys. I don't know. Like I look forward to. I think, man, this is great. Like, I mean, people that are doing the classes, hopefully someday we'll be taking your classes too. I don't see that very far down the road for you at all. I mean,
no,
you got a lot go. You're very well versed in all of this. Very well
yeah, I
versed.
just finished my second book and I'm halfway through my third. So as soon as these books are done, then I will start taking
Yeah,
and
there's
teaching
only one of
classes to other.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, there's only one of me, and it's yeah, I'm a very busy guy. So yeah.
Yeah, no, he is. And so I really appreciate your time, James. And like, this
All
is
right.
so cool that we're going to be there. So everybody, again, you can find James Kelly at author James Kelly. You better take it over, James Kelly.
Sorry. It's author James Kelly Books with an S.com, or you can reach me if you want to email me and ask questions at author James Kelly Books at gmail.com. And I'll send Chloe these links. And so she'll have them up that
We'll get 'em
you
out
can
there.
connect with us.
Yes, I know. We'll definitely get them out there. And anybody who has any questions, James is on Facebook. He is on all the platforms. So,
Yes.
reach out, take these opportunities. Like, these guys are like more than willing to help you and give you like guidance through this. And that is like golden. all the people that, you know, are the monumental people in my life, like helped me through and helped me get to the next spot. And that's what James is shooting for. I said, man, we really need a step 2. And he's like, I've already wrote it, you know, already ready to release it. I'm like, man, you're ahead of the game, you know? So I'm very proud of the work that he does. I'm very proud of him and all this, because this is not easy on you. This is not easy on you. I know that. And I appreciate you. So, yes. No problem. Yeah. Is there any, and in closing, is there any last words that you want to say before tomorrow night? We reconvene at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Mary Rodwell tomorrow, who's also been at the Study Ranch. Yeah.
Yeah. With everybody that's listening, I just want you to take tomorrow and find some time for yourself and sit and just meditate and let love into your heart. And then if you come back tomorrow, I want to hear what happened.
How did
true love?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, take care, everybody.
Take care, and thank you for taking the journey into the unknown with SNX Radio. And we are going to be back to you tomorrow night with Mary Rodwell at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss out. So James Kelly will be here again tomorrow night. So if you guys, like he said, take him up on the offer. Tell us tomorrow in the chat, like, what has changed for you, how it's changed in that journey, and reach out. Use these resources. Use them. But not like use them, but use like, you know, their knowledge and help them guide you through this, because they've been through it. You don't have to go through and face this all alone. There's a lot of us out there, and we're willing to talk, you know, willing to help however we can. James has a very a mission that's not for everyone. It's not for me. No, I'm glad that I don't know if I mean, it's your mission. It's definitely your mission. I don't have the same, you know, type of abilities, but hey, I've got my own little niche in this, and I love what I do. So I wouldn't take it back for the world. So hopefully we'll hear from you tomorrow. And again, James, you want to tell them the challenge for tomorrow on that was great. Could you repeat that one more time? I loved it. It just kind of touched me.
So tomorrow, just take some time throughout your day, find a nice quiet spot and meditate on peace, and let love and peace come into your heart. And then on the radio show tomorrow, just in the text, just write what happened and be very honest and open, and I will be there for you.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes. So on that note, I don't even want to pollute that. So we're just going to say goodbye on that note and leave it at that. And hopefully we'll hear from you again tomorrow. So that's great. Thank you, James. And we'll see you again. Yeah. Love you guys.
All right.
From the sound of nation heights, quest the truth is our guide in the vast expanse. It's where we reside. Hands up to the sky, let the bass ignite. Feel the groove surround us. Everything's alright. SNX Radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine, bringing shadows to light. In this cosmic dance, we're connecting the dots.
Tune into the frequency, let's explore the spots. Heavy bass drops with tight beats.
Illuminate the shadows, the echo of our call.
On this roller we will never fall.
Feel the energy rising, can you sense the spark? As we dive deeper into the cosmic arc.
Stories of the universe, mysteries unfold. In the heart of SNX, where the truth is gold. Every note we play, every line we write, crafting our legacy, shining ever bright.
SNX Radio, let the truth ignite. Together we'll shine.
let's explore the spot. Here in the spotlight, we're taking our turn. With the fire in our hearts, let the passion burn. SNX Radio's call, ringing through the air. Together we rise, together we dare.
So join us now, let the rhythm flow. With SNX Radio, we're ready to go. Unraveling the mystery side by side, we stand hand in hand. In this dance of truth, let the story expand.
Out in the dark, the stars align. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Signals flashing, the secret sign. Sasquatch whispers, UFOs glide. Mysteries unfold, can't hide, can't hide. Voices in the static calling me, calling me. A cosmic rhythm setting me free. SNX, feel the vibe, let it flow. Connections glowing, don't you know? SNX, light the night, let it show. Cosmic groove, we're ready to go. In the woods, shadows move, move. Skyline flickers, it's a neon groove. Expert stories witness sight, unravel truth in the cosmic light. Voices in the static calling me, calling me. A cosmic rhythm setting me free. SNX.